Hey guys, what up? What up? I am back. It's been a minute. Actually, it's been exactly a week since PoE2 reveal. We have a lot of stuff to react to. So what we're going to do in this stream, as much as I want to grind on TLI, I also want to react to a lot of PoE2 stuff. So I'm going to be playing that as I'm playing TLI and all of that, and we'll cover as much ground as possible in this one stream. I would have put, I don't know what to title this stream if I'm being honest, because I'm playing TLI but I'm also reacting to PoE2, and so like kind of weird. But that is the game plan. I also have Arcane on a call who is currently attempting SS20, so we'll be talking. We'll kind of be coaching him through some of it if he doesn't understand what is happening in those parts of the fights and whatnot. Oh, and for other news, I have actually beaten SS20 now, so I can actually just show you real quick. I'm done with 20. I once started on ultimate before I switched to enhanced. Now I need to do, god damn it, someone pick up for it, doesn't matter. Now I'm trying to get my enhanced version to be to the damage level required to do 3 stars. I have one started on enhanced and I've one started on ultimate. Now I just need to 3 star it on enhanced because ultimate can't 3 star it. It doesn't do enough DPS. But anyways, I'm not looking at your screen, Mr. Arcanex. Do note if you buy something here, it counts as on TI track, it counts as a loss.
I stopped using TI track right now because of that. I think I'm kind of done with that, to be honest.
Shit is ass, right?
Such a fucking ass thing. It's so bad. It's actually
and you can't ignore it. You ignore it and it's like, oh yeah, it's ignored. Minus 2,000. It says it's ignored it, but like it's still there, and you can tell it's still there. It's like, bruh.
Yeah, we're doing good. We ramp so quick now. It's insane. I'm trying to prioritize the ball.
He's playing live stacker. In case you're wondering, live stacking what Rehan.
Yeah.
Riahan.
Oh, babes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess they both have, right?
I mean, round 2 base doesn't, unless you're zooming in.
Oh, there's a different skill for Rehan 2 and the train skin. You know, the train one that she's on a bike. I thought those were the same thing for a sec there. Those are 2 different purchases entirely. Yo! Is it? Okay, we're good. Act like we never left. Oh my god, how did I pick up 4 extra? Yo, what does 4 extra do, by the way?
Usually more damage. What slows your movement
do I want
speed.
to keep up more?
You can only get to 7, but I mean, it's more damage, so you can. It's just, you know, as much as it's more damage, it's less movement. It's less movement speed, so you won't be able to walk to finally pick. Like, if you need to like move out of the way, you can't just dash because there are some places where you need the precision of walking.
Oh,
it's just.
Yeah. Sometimes I try not to walk, to be honest, because I don't really have movement speed.
I mean, I'm kind of in the same place with Blink. Well, like picking these up without walking is pain.
It is. Am I hitting for any? Let me know what big numbers I'm hitting for with that 7. Actually curious.
2.5
Oh, I hit
T.
for 2.5 instead of 1.5. That's insane. Yo, am I? Lock in, right? Lock in.
Just focus on the fight and stop thinking, am I damage cap?
No, I was just like, am I? I need 2 more. Okay, we're good. Where are they? What are we doing? Oh, it's just you.
Yeah,
do I just, no! You see what I mean? I feel like right there was a shotgun.
There
you
go.
Feel like it was that much damage.
You got hit by dots. The dot pool. That 31k is a lot of damage, my guys.
Sorry, never Well, I was looking at the hits. I didn't look at persistence. What does the dot look like?
He is the crab. He's going to charge, but there are two different whirlpools. If the whirlpool creates when he starts his charge, it's a hit. These are hits. If it's after his charge it has started moving, that's a dot.
Alright, whatever.
So it depends on when the whirlpool actually gets created. Like there, that's a dot. This is a dot.
What, the blue thing following the floor? Like
no, it's the whirlpool that is going after him. If it starts creating along the line he charges on, that is a dot. But if it's after he does the swipe that gets created, that is a hit. Does that make sense? Because there are two different attacks.
As he's in the animation.
If he swipes and you see whirlpools before he dashes, that is a hit. If you don't see it until he dashes, that's a dot. It's a dot that is very scary. Also, that big tornado that you're just eating there.
And that dot eats you so quick because it didn't even feels like a dot when I die. But sometimes he does this swipe and dash there, and literally nothing happens. So
that's on phase 1 before he actually, like, very early on, he's going to do that and nothing will happen here and there. It's like, I don't know if it's bugged, I don't know if that's his mechanic, but that's just what he does. In the first few minutes of the fight, that's what he's going to do. And when he's a ghost, he will also sometimes do it. Where
he can do dots when he's a ghost?
Yes. Most times he won't actually create dots, but like sometimes, you know.
So now he's big.
Yeah. Like if you watch his swipe, this is a dot. This is a dot.
So basically dodge the proj. Always try to dodge the proj.
Yeah, I'll just dodge the whirlpool all times.
Do my best. Nothing happened this time.
This is dot. So basically what his attack pattern is simple.
It spawned on me.
His attack pattern is actually he's the simplest of.
No, I know. He does the swipe and he goes forward, right?
He does swipe twice, then he's going to slam his shot into the ground and create those 4 walls. Then he's going to swipe twice.
On this build.
And then
like on the state of this build, I can actually win this.
I mean, probably can. You've already beat one phase.
Well, I made it to.
I think you can 2-star it maybe.
I think so too, actually. I actually genuinely thought that. I was like, I think I can actually take this farther. I think what that means for me is I'm actually taking all these buffs.
Careful, big tornadoes coming soon.
How do you know it's coming?
He just goes. The guy that summons the tornadoes will just be
every time.
No, you don't want. You just want to move. The guy that does the big tornado, he's just one that does the small tornadoes. And when he's standing in one spot producing many smalls, a big tornado will spawn at the end of that attack sequence, essentially. Can you tell I've done this fight a lot?
People like don't log back in from T4 and clear it first try.
I mean, if I'm on 15T and I've done it before, because this is not the first time it's SS20. And it won't be the last time either.
Try this phase. What kind of damage is this?
I don't know. Hit damage, I think.
Because I have 0 erosion res. I can't fit
that explains why you took 20k damage. Damage from that dot.
I can probably try and get it to like 30, but I'll have to sacrifice some gear for it. Actually, I'm curious how often I'm critting, because that might be holding me back.
I mean, you're mostly critting from what I can see. Big tornado comes soon.
I drop. Was that the big one?
Yeah, it's at the bottom right. Yeah, it's still on your map, but yeah.
Oh, I can't see. I can't. I think I need to go whirlwind, not thunder spike, because thunder spike takes you to enemies, which is annoying because it's still technically an attack skill. Whirlwind.
I don't know what.
And periodic burst, sure. Ability. Powers. So we're gonna be we're not gonna be as fast, but Thunder Spike is an attack skill that the support gem makes it a movement skill, but it makes it kind of ass a lot of the time because right there it took me to them
Don't
because
isn't
it
that
still
some
has.
auto targets?
Yeah, you turn it off, but it's not consistent because I think because the skill still works a certain way, like it's still you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
it's still you still feel it doing it even if you don't want it to.
So even with
I'd
it
rather
offense
have more
settings.
control. Like right here, I can't do this with T Spike because T Spike is like, oh, let me talk to him.
Interesting. Okay. One thing to
It's also
just
faster, so you can actually PK yourself and like lose control.
one thing you need to keep in mind though is this might be a dash, not a blink. And that is just important if you're trying to avoid a damage
Everything, right?
instance. Yeah, like go over something instead of going through it. That
That's a
is,
lot slower. That's a lot slower for running out of the shit.
he's going to create 4 whirlpools.
Fuck, how did you know? Okay, what was the tell?
Was I lied to? I'm sorry, Lit. I actually wanted to stream yesterday, but then some stuff came up and I was like, I'm going to put it on the update that I can't stream today, so it'll be Thursday, but I just never got around to. Partly because I didn't make up my mind on what I was actually doing and if I was streaming until like 10 minutes
What you
before
streamed
stream time.
yesterday?
Yeah, Big Fizz. Killed you there. You ate the purple projectile barrage. Like you were in the cross section of those balls. But I'm back. Basically. So if when you die in this one, I will explain. Let me explain the crab. The crab has a very telegraphed attacks. He's going to do swipe, like swipe dash. Now we don't. It's RNG which swipe dash he decides to do. There are 2 swipe dashes. There's one where the swipe creates a whirlpool, and there's one where the dash creates the whirlpool. The dash creating the whirlpool is dots. The swipe creating it is a hit. The hit one is a lot more manageable. The dot is very dangerous. So just pay attention to if the whirlpool got created soon or sooner or later in the sequence. Then he's going to do this. 4 whirlpools are coming. He's going to put his trident in the ground, and whenever he does that animation, he's creating 4 whirlpools. If he is
Whenever he does that, okay.
Yes, whenever you see him, he put his trident in the ground, he's about to create 4 whirlpools. And it's kind of RNG if it's centered around you or centered around him. So he's creating it now.
Yeah, so I'm doing so I backed up.
It's kind of RNG if he centers around you, centered around him, or does some weird shit. But like if he, yeah. So if you keep an eye on him, that whirlpool is very easy to dodge. The next person that is the most dangerous is Dagan, which is this guy, Mr. Tornado. When you start seeing many tornadoes being created from him and he's stationary, just stay away from him. Just move away from him because he's going to create, like here, he's about to create big tornado. Like whenever you just start seeing a very high volume of small tornadoes, move away from wherever they're coming from.
Okay.
Those are the biggest mechanics you need to be aware of in this fight. You avoid them properly and stay away from that guy, that big tornado.
I didn't see any big tornado when you said that.
Tornadoes are coming.
Right
yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
It's on the battlefield. Is it still in play?
Yeah, not so.
Oh, what the fuck, dude! It's so fast. Bro, just playing Twisted.
Try that.
Oh, I see. Okay, I didn't actually know he was the one casting that. That's pretty helpful. I need to get back into uptime though. How much time do I have to pick? Oh fuck, I don't have a lot of time. Okay, we're good. That was close. That was actually close. These dudes are fucking insane.
So at some point, I think I've actually decided, and now that means you're going to have to face this guy and kill him. Okay, no, it hasn't decided. It's now deciding. This guy, he just stayed in it. He's doing it. Okay, so So go to the right. The guy that doesn't have the yellow circle. Yellow one that doesn't have it.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the easiest of the bunch. He's the guy that does the purple shit. Just be careful of the balls that he throws and the invisible.
Yo, I don't have a lot.
He does a lot of fizz. He is
One
Mr.
second, I
Fizz.
was actually 1 second away. I was trying to 12 is a lot to get. I don't want to be stuck in a corner with little bro, man. Come here, come here.
So there's a very hard to hit skill he does, which is the thing you see those black balls in a line. It's kind of just pulsing as it goes down the line. It's very hard to see. There, those things are just spawning. That's him as well.
They do a lot of damage.
They don't do a lot of damage, but they hit. Yeah, you meant to focus the one that can take damage. So no. It's not call. It's not call.
Oh, I wasn't trying to call. I was trying to make sure I wasn't on call.
Okay.
Because I've been mapping without call this whole time. Holy. All right, we gotta pick shit up.
What's your time?
Honestly, I'm feeling. Oh. Fuck this fight.
It's a lot, but eventually you might get used to watching out for all the different things that could happen because there's a lot of shit that can happen as you're coming to terms with.
Start the video. This will be a bit.
Are you going to try to get some erosion rush? Show details. You took a lot of erosion, I think. You probably took a lot of erosion on Fizz. Yeah, Kagausa is big Fizz guy, but I think also in Whirlpool. Whirlpool isn't Fizz, so it's his purple shit that killed you is what that means.
I was in the Whirlpool too, so I don't really know. I mean, maybe I got tapped by it towards the end.
Like he has an attack. If you watch him, there's like this thing where there's a line of purple shit that's kind of progressing. It's like imagine there's a purple thing on the left. It's pulses. Then a new set pulses beside it. Yeah, like new ones are being created essentially, and it just keeps pulsing as it goes down. But you don't see where it actually is. You just know that he's doing it, and it's going down a line. There's a big tornado around you, by the way.
Yeah, I was just thinking, what if I just go 7, 6, 7?
Really?
Like it's happening now, right? No, it doesn't.
That's a big tornado.
How did you know?
Yeah, that one. How did I know that there was a big tornado?
Yeah.
I just saw it. He created a big tornado, so like it's going to be on the arena for a bit. He's creating one now. And he'll be on the arena for a bit. He can decide to move it. It's moving.
I gotta pick my orbs. It's a problem.
Exactly. That's why the mechanic is big tornado or near you.
I don't actually know if it kills me. Do we know if this shit kills me?
Does a lot of damage, so I don't know if it kills you, but it probably tests your survivability. Struck Trident? Okay.
Go back in. What are we doing now? Turn the Trident. I saw Trident.
Yeah.
Ooh, if I didn't look at him. I have to keep an eye for these two fuckers. So these are the only two people I really need to look at.
Yeah, you need to pay attention to the tornado, if there's any tornado, and Whirlpool. Those are the most dangerous people.
What are we fighting?
You're facing Kasegosa, the easy guy. Just be careful of his fizz, and that's it.
Ooh, leave there.
Yeah, he's doing his fizz shit. That's his dangerous part, just the different fizz.
Swiping or are you playing the game? Trident boy, what are you doing, bro? This is where I have to kill him, right?
You have to focus on the one that can take damage, which is you have to keep doing damage to him on. No. You focus on the guy that can take damage. Only one of them can take damage, right?
I'm going. Okay. Yeah. I was just picking shit up. All right. Easy. Oh, that's the pulse.
Yeah.
And we have time to chill for a sec. Just don't troll. He's doing. I saw. Okay, we're good. And he's really close to dying, so we just need to do some damage for a little bit, to be honest. I'm not there. That could have been. Holy, okay. Still in it. I don't see trident plants. If I switch to call, we kill.
Trident.
Can
Yeah.
we chill here then? But it's also we faced him, I think.
You've killed one of them, so now you're facing Dagon. So now you have to be careful of tornado.
I need to master the tornado skills. Probably what that means. Bro, literally just like spawns it randomly, like
No, that's
like
just
Selena.
Those are the small ones. This is the big one. So the big one is coming now. Yeah, so a big one is on the field, which means it can move at any point.
How much time do I have? Do I need to pick shit up? I'm gonna die to it, I think. Oh, I needed one more.
Always feels bad. That
one's kind of hard to like.
So basically, for him, he might just create random small tornadoes. That's something he does. But when he's creating the big one, he's stationary and he's creating waves of small tornadoes. Like it's small tornado, then a wave of small tornado with one big tornado. And sometimes he will have two big tornadoes on the field. So just keep that in mind. But whenever a big tornado is on the field, it typically would go in a direction, and then after a bit it goes in another direction towards you, and then sometimes it decides to follow you. I don't fully know the tornado targeting logic yet, but like shit follows you sometimes, shit goes in a direction other times. Just stay away from the big tornado. But he only creates it when he's doing the wave big tornado.
Eat some dinner, come back refreshed for the fights.
Sounds good.
But I think it's doable. Damn.
Yeah, I mean you've done one phase, because then you'd have to kill Dagon, and once Dagon is dead, you face Basatan, which is Mr. Crab. And then when you kill Mr. Krabs, you face all three, but at this point you can now call them, because they spawn with the health you leave them at, which is like, I don't know, 25%, something like that. So very close to your call range. My call range was 22, so
easy. Your is 22. What is mine?
18, I think.
22 is crazy.
Yeah. But
yeah, currently I'm using tenacity. Yeah. It
involves a helmet swap. If you want, you can always use my call range if you want. You'd have to buy Corroded Machine Lord.
I can't switch my helmets. It's up to the
It's what?
Like, I'm so scared of brick. That's all my scaling is in that. It's my attack speed, my increased damage.
No, you don't care about that. Will you kill yourself if you swap it? That's the only thing that matters. It's your synthetic troops that will get the call.
Oh yeah.
Because like I said, it's 22% call. You don't have to. Like, your call is probably fine. You just have to.
Fine. We just need to make it there.
Yeah.
I'll worry about it if I die doing it.
That's the hard part, getting there. Once you get there, it's pretty chill.
Good progress though.
All right, so we have today's teasers, which I have not actually watched. Reworked Uniques, Reverie, and Hollow Mask. Then we have an interview between Jonathan and Chris to watch. And then I'm pretty sure there's like other interviews. I know there's probably a Destiny interview that I've seen in passing, or at least I think I've seen. And I think there was it Legendary Drops interviewed as well? I'm forgetting. But anyways, odds are we're never going to get past the Chris Wilson interview today, simply because of how I watch interviews, and I'll be playing TLR on the side. So like, you can imagine how long that's going to take, because I'm going to have to pause the thing and then talk, because I will have words. But first, teaser.
Mark Roberts, game director on Path of Exile. Today, we'd like to showcase 2 unique items straight out of the mysterious Wildwood. These are existing items, but have been completely reworked in Return of the Ancients. First,
Oh, the
we
art of
have
this
a
looks nice.
rebranded husk of dreams, Reverie. And then
Hmm.
the Hollow Mask.
Yo,
A
it's
great choice for those botanists out there. A druidic Magi woman, Sorel of Caer Tarth, led many into battle against the Nameless, who threatened the Wildwood. She was so in tune with the goddess that she'd call upon the very roots of the forest to aid her allies in the heat of battle.
okay.
With the armor of Sorel, you too.
All right, this wind is a lot, and it's probably going to be picked up by my mic a bit. I'm going to close that window, and then we can continue watching this. Okay, I am back. Let's continue.
Her allies in the heat of battle. With the armor of Sorel, you too can call upon the aid of the goddess Viridian. While Reverie is equipped, you forego regular life flask use to instead passively apply recovery from life flasks constantly.
Holy regen.
Reverie also
Wasn't this the we already have a mana flask variant of it? But it will, I'm sure, to giga reduce your life flask recovery.
grants a sigil skill called Rite of Restoration use to instead passively apply recovery from life flasks constantly.
So 40% less, that's actually not bad. Is it just me? And of course you can corrupt it to be lower. I guess it's because you're giving up your chest piece for it that you feel fine giving that, because it is a decent amount of regen. But like, that's just all you're getting, regen and minus fire res.
Reverie also grants a sigil skill called Rite of Restoration. Use it to call the goddess to your aid, creating an area that amplifies the defense and regeneration of all those standing within the circle. While you are inside the invocation circle, the bonuses to your defense and regeneration become stronger and stronger as you spend mana. Now, the Hollow Mask. Its roots penetrate your flesh and bone, giving you a direct connection to Viridian herself. What better way?
Remnants you create affect allies in your presence as well as you when collected. Wait, hold up. Let's remove this real quick. PoE 2 wiki. Actually, PoE 2DB is better. What remnants do we currently have? I know we have the infusion remnants. We have mana remnants, which gives you max mana. These do nothing for minions. This would help minion survivability, so that's fine. Infusion remnant does nothing baseline, so like that wouldn't matter. Into the breach though. Into the breach would be insane. Chayula Monk would actually be really strong for this, because then you would get the chaos ones that gives you damages extra chaos and give that to allies. That I think is probably the best use of remnants currently. Yeah, I think that's literally just the current way to use it. Because it'll give you and your minions leech. It'll give them and to give them damage as extra chaos. Being able to give them 70% damage as extra chaos is kind of really strong. 15% additional PDR? That is kind of disgusting. I don't know. We need to see what this does as well.
Has in store for you. While adorning the hollow mask,
Ancient blooms are remnants that grant the following bonuses: 5 charges to all your charms, all your mana flask, all your life flasks.
it will reveal gifts from the goddess in the form of ancient blooms. These flowers manifest in the different forms of the wisps of the wildwood. Collecting them will respectively grant you charges for your life flask, mana flask, or charms. But there's more. With its roots well and truly embedded in you, the Hollow Mask causes any remnants that you collect to be shared to your allies in addition to affecting you. You may want to consider using both of these when playing with your friends, especially when used together, serve as a powerful combo for supporting your allies. You'll be able to find Reverie and the Hollow Mask as unique items in Return of the Ancient.
Okay, that's dope. I like it. All right. Next up, Chris Wilson. This one. Does he have a newer video I haven't seen? I think it's just this one, right? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Chris.
Okay. So how are we going to do this? Because I do want to game while I'm doing it, but that would also distract me. I know I have this scene, which I planned on using beforehand. So we're going to use this one. We're going to amp up the volume of the YouTube, and we're going to take down the volume of PLI. A bit, just not much, but a bit. And let's see how this goes.
Awesome. So this is the interview that people have been requesting for some time. Today, I'll be chatting with Jonathan Rogers. The context for viewers is Jonathan and I were two of the co-founders of Grinding Gear Games and ran the company together for 17 years or so. I left a few years ago and Jonathan's been running it since then. So for every new Path of Exile 2 release the company does, they run a press tour where journalists and influencers can interview the company about the new expansion. And now that I've got my YouTube channel, I kind of snuck onto the press tour and snagged an interview slot with Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan, how are you going?
Hey, I'm going good.
Nice, good to talk to you. Yeah, so how's life at GGG? 050 is looking really cool. I'm very, very pleased to see it.
Well, it's certainly busy, I'll tell you that. Like, there's a lot going on. Like 050 is kind of this just like giant patch that, you know, is like a crazy bear to organize just because there's so many different parts to it. So, yeah, it's certainly probably one of the harder ones I've ever worked on, I'd say.
The scope looks crazy. Like, when you were initially telling me about it, like, obviously there's a ton of stuff in the end game, but you just kept going.
Yeah. I think one of the issues, one of the perils of being in early access is there's this kind of desire of like, okay, with every patch, we want to try and fix everything. Like, we want to try and get the game into a state where it's more releasable. And so then we're like, okay, the end game is a problem. We need to address it. So we're like, okay, what are the things that would need to happen? What are all the things that would need to happen in order to make the end game good? And so suddenly then you're ending up with the scope that's just absolutely gigantic. And probably the smart thing to do would be to be, okay, we're just going to divide this up into like several pieces, and then we're going to go and we're going to try and do each one, you know, one at a time. But the problem is it's really... What was that, sir?
Oh, could you divide the end game stuff? Like, it feels to me like you kind of do need to do that pretty cohesively.
Well, I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, it does feel like you can't divide it, and that's because you're like, okay, if we're going to make the end game good, it means that every single, like, you know, all of the things in it need to be good and so on. But like, the reality is that probably what it would have been better is like, hey, just leave one of these leagues bad, and you know, just
how about I do this instead?
Like I really didn't want to. So what we ended up doing was kind of like, okay, we're gonna make every single thing that's in the end game actually good. Like, we're gonna make sure that they all have the sort of depth of a full like league system. You know,
yeah, let's do that.
Like how it was in 010 and that.
Better that way.
That's just kind of led to the scope being huge. And we even like we were planning even 040 to have a bunch of the end game stuff, and then it ended up just getting pushed because it was just kind of too huge. So yeah, just it's just a scope management issue, and it's been pretty difficult.
So with regard to that delay there, how did the thought process work? Like, obviously you'd worked out a scope of in-game stuff in your head you thought you could do for 040, and then the reality was you eventually had to decide to push it. But like, what was it that made it too big to do in 040?
Well, once again, I think it was probably just the fact that we
Druid.
wanted to do it all at the same time. So we were like, okay, we
Druid?
need 4 new pinnacle bosses because we need to be, we're upgrading 4 leagues. And if we've got 4 new pinnacle bosses, we, like here's all the stuff that needs to do. We need to make sure the league mechanics have like an extra thing going on with each of them, like all that sort of stuff. And I think if we'd just done one of them in 040, that would have been absolutely fine, and we could have got extra, especially because like a bunch of work was done, right? Like there was a bunch of work done before 040 because we did think that the endgame stuff was going to go in, which then we kind of had to at the last minute be like, okay, we actually can't do this. It's just going to have to be the druid in the league effectively for 040. So yeah, that was kind of a bit annoying because it made 040 feel.
So what would 0.4 have looked like if they actually succeeded? Because with the current structure we have for 0.5, we're going to be on 0.5 for what will effectively be 6-ish months, I guess. Because it's end of May, so that's going to effectively be June till November, December. So yeah, like 6-ish months, we're going to be on 050. So if they actually manage to get one of them, I guess they could bring the remaining 3 and then maybe some extra, and maybe this was always going to be the plan, but then they'd have to like fit in like, I don't even know what else they'd fit in, like maybe total or something to still make it as big. But I don't mind the way it is now, if I'm being very honest.
A lot smaller. And it's interesting because like 030 was obviously a huge, like a huge release. And then 040 kind of felt like a bit of a letdown by comparison. It really is just because a bunch of work that was done didn't end up shipping in it. So 050 though, on the other hand, is going to feel like this absolutely gigantic release because a bunch of work that was done for 040 which didn't make it is now going to be in it, plus a bunch of extra stuff as well. So yeah, that's kind of
that's an interesting. That's actually pretty. That explains a lot.
It's sort of surprising as well because the larger something is, it honestly like the time taken to do it seems to go up by more than linearly. Right, like if you do something twice as big, it takes more than twice as long to do it. So that's one of the tricky things we've certainly found.
Yeah, I noticed. So this early access you're running for PoE2 at the moment. It's not the first time GGG did early access. Like as you recall, we did it for 1.0 and 2.0 and 3.0 back, like the Awakening and Fall of Oriath and so on. But those were way shorter. Like it was basically like 1 league's worth. And obviously, you guys will have run this for like a year or so. And in fact, is it a year or 2 years?
It'll be 2 years, by the time we're done, I suspect.
Yep. So the question I have here is, this means that you're having to run early access, not just as a beta test, but kind of as a live service. Like you're having to, when you do an update, you can't say, hey guys, please test the campaign. There is no end game, because they want to play the end game. You want them to be playing it as a final product. It makes money and so on. So is it hard managing a live service when what you kind of want is testing of specific features?
It honestly really is. And the funny thing about it is that we never intended, as I'm sure you specifically know, to have early access last this long. Like both of us were very optimistically thinking, oh yeah, it's going to be 6 months. But the reality was it was way, way longer than that. The funny thing is that I think that when you haven't made a game from scratch for a while, even if you're sitting there churning out league launches, it honestly took me by surprise how much work there is in it. Which, I mean, we did it before, but yet it's like somehow you forget like how much there actually is there. I mean, the first time we did it, we took like, was it 6 years or something? And like before we actually, released anything. And then it was quite a long while after that before we had more than a couple of acts. Like all the rest of it and everything. So like, that was actually kind of, PoE2 just ended up being a sort of similar prospect, but it didn't seem like that because it's like, you kind of look at it and you're like, well, the team's so much larger. There's so much more going on. Like we've made all this, there's all this pre-production stuff. We've like made tons of monsters. We've made tons of unique art. We've made all this stuff. It's like, it feels like the putting it together part at the end should be somehow not as long as it is. And yet somehow it just ended up being way bigger. So I think that's been kind of pretty brutal wake up call. You think you know how to make it.
I can't even imagine how difficult it is.
Oh yeah, that's right. A decade later, it's actually
being really a director of a project like PoE2.
I wonder if this is because some percentage of each release has to go into like league stuff and micros and other novel stuff for that release, and it gives you less than 100% of the time to like. It slows down the development of act content and that kind of stuff.
Well, the early access stuff is very much like that, and that in particular is part of the reason why we're not doing a 060. So, like 050 is going to be the last release. And the reality is that we're kind of like, okay, getting Act 5 and 6 and all the stuff we've got in 1.0 out
Means
it
a
can't be
delay.
done in 4 months. We can do it in 8 months, but if we don't do it in 4 months, we have to do another league. And if we do another league, then that's even more content we have to make because it's a league now, right? And so that would actually push 1.0 out even further. And so you've got this thing where it's like every single launch is effectively stealing resources from finishing the game. So at some point we just had to sort of put our foot in the sand and say, no, we're actually going to get this damn game out now if it does mean going a little bit longer between 2 releases. So it'll be really good though, because once we get to 1.0, like not having to have this like extra giant thing going on in the backdrop of finishing the campaign and so on is just going to be so much easier. Like the idea of just being able to make a league rather than have to also like do like mega revamps of everything and like just crazy like new campaign acts and everything is going to be pretty good. I think it's going to like allow us to relax a little bit more compared to what we have been doing, because the rush to 1.0 has been pretty crazy.
One thing that you and I had done previously, like a long time ago, is we'd often be working on the next league, but have the beginnings of a larger league. Like I remember with Ascendancy, for example, when we started work on that. I mean, that's partly because we overscoped or underestimated it, but we essentially moved Ascendancy from its slot to the next slot and did another league instead. Obviously, you guys, like I know GGG won't have plans that far out for the future because you're focusing all on 1.0, but do you expect that you would intermingle larger releases and larger
Sup,
leagues?
Paulo?
So
How you doing?
You need to have updates that like shake up the end game and do other stuff like that every now and then. Otherwise, things will get scale. So we'll absolutely be doing the whole like AB kind of like thing that we used to do. It's just at the moment, effectively, what you've got going on in the background is that the B, as it were, is like the extra act that you're sitting there working on, because there's like a ton of work that's going on there in the background. Yeah, like we'll probably do that. I mean, look, it's funnily enough, right? Because sometimes the like latency times get so crazy that there are like things being made for 1.2.
Trying to understand Vorax crafting. Honestly, Vorax crafting isn't. It must have changed in SS12. Why do you think it must have changed? Vorax crafting is honestly not that bad, or not hard to understand at the very least. It's in a nutshell, let me just pull let me make it TLI big. In a nutshell, what you want out of Vorax is you want your legendary affixes to go on 2 different. It's the guy that's saying something different. What do you want? Let's start from there, because in the best case scenario, this is the ideal Vorax I have currently, which is you have a legendary affix, an advanced affix, and an ultimate affix. This is the highest. This is the perfect case scenario where you can now make whatever item you want if you can get this layout, right? There are cheaper alternatives that'll give you some power, but like, does that make sense? I can make all these mods T0s if I wanted to. It's deterministic. I do not have to spend egregious amounts of currency to do that. But with any other method, you kind of would have to settle on certain mods. You might not have your say in exactly what combinations you might get depending on like the combinations. But the TLDR of this is you want to have a legendary mod on each side, an advanced mod on each side, and an ultimate mod on each side. So that when I say, okay, I want to roll advanced prefixes, it can only remove this mod. It cannot remove this. It cannot remove this because you can only have 2 advanced mods. So it has to remove the advanced. And same thing with the ultimate. If I say I want to add an ultimate, I have to use a different one that does something else. It cannot remove this ultimate because it's an ultimate prefix. So it has to remove this ultimate, and then when I bring it back, it has to remove the one that replaced it. So it's very deterministic in crafting it up. If I wanted to go for T0 or whatever else, I can get it. That's why you see every mod I have is really good for my setup, because I wanted all the mods I had. But it is more expensive than the cheaper alternatives. But this is essentially the crafting process for it. If you want to know, you buy a base that has the implicit you care about. You're going to put 6 base mods on it, just 6 base mods. Then you're going to try to put an advance on the prefix, an advance on the suffix. You're going to put an ultimate on the prefix, ultimate on the suffix, to where you have a basic mod, an advanced, and an ultimate mod. Basic, advanced, ultimate. Then you're going to throw on your legendary items. It can remove any one of the 6 mods. You have a 2 in 6 chance of removing the mods you want, i.e. the basic mods. The first time you click it, you pray it hits the basic mod of one side. You just pray. That's all you can do. And if it hits the basic mod of, let's say, suffixes, right? That means your suffixes are technically done. But that's half the battle. You have to do it again. And each time you use this, you get a choice of mods. You might not get the mod you want. You might get the mod you want. It's RNG, right? If you get the mod you want and it goes in one of the places you want, huge. But if you don't, you have to work around it. And then for this guy, you do it again, and if he removes the second basic mod, which is a 1 in 6 still, you just won. But if he removes anything else, you have to kind of pivot. So in a scenario where you get 2 on one side, right? Let's say you have ultimate, advanced, basic, and then ultimate, unique, and then unique, right? Let's say that's what you got, but you care about what you got. Because you still have an ultimate, you're going to put an advanced suffix. You don't care which one you get, just an advanced suffix. And you're going to hope it removes one of the legendary mods. Because then when it removes it, what do you get? You get ultimate, advanced, and then legendary. And now you're going to click this again and hope it goes to the other side for the base mod. And if it removes the same thing, you keep working it to where every single time you click this second time, you have the setup you want. You have the ultimate, advanced, basic, and then whatever. And you're just trying to make sure you can get the even split. Yeah, you want to split them on either side with advanced and ultimate mods, filling up the remaining two slots essentially. So regardless of what you want, remember what you're going for, which is 2 legendaries on either side, and then ultimate, advance on either side as well. So if you get, let's say it eats an advanced, like for me, the way this worked, I might still have the screenshots of what I actually got. So let me see if I do. I sent this to Arcane, so I need to see if I can easily get this picture, because this history goes all the way back. Vorax. God damn, we chat a lot. Jesus. A lot of scrolling, my dude. No, that's not my Vorax. Any moment now. Oh, sure. It actually is still a bit of a scroll. Any moment now. When did I craft my Vorax? I guess that's a good place to start. It was like almost 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, something like that. Yeah, it's around here. Definitely around here. Bruh. Where is it? There. Okay, cool. I found it. All right. So this is the very first fail I had on my Vorax. This was the very first fail state I had on my Vorax. It was this. This was the form that it was in, which means I had done basic, advanced, ultimate. It removed the basic, which was good, but then it removed the ultimate. So what did I do here? I used ultimate prefix, and all I needed the ultimate prefix to do was remove either of these guys. It removed this one at the top, so now I had ultimate, advanced, this one. So one side is done. So all I then needed to reapply Winter of Origin. lock into the mod I wanted as being part of the choice, and then hopefully replaces the basic. That was it. And what happened? I did it, and it replaced this advanced. So now they were on either side, right? So now you have this guy here on the advanced area, but then we still had basic and ultimate. So we weren't done because we needed to replace this basic with an advanced. Because if we can replace the basic with the advanced, then we still get what we want, which is ultimate, which is legendary, ultimate, advanced. So we threw advanced on the suffixes, and it was a 1 in 3 to win, and we won. So the advanced got here, which is why we have the perfect advanced here and then ultimate. Does that make sense? So your whatever fail state you end up at, you're literally just saying, okay, how can I get ultimate and advanced on this side that currently has the uniques, and on the next side, and then go. To start with cheap legendaries, I mean, it depends. This is for your best in slot Vorax, right? This is for me. Winter of Origin is cheap. Yeah, Winter of Origin is like 40 FE. I think that's pretty good. Don't do Lone Walkers. Lone Walkers are insane. Don't do that. But Winter of Origin, very good choice for Vorax. I think is it 40 FE right now? It was like 50 when I got it. You can't destroy corroded, by the way. Corroded doesn't give you the organ, but every non-corroded will give you 2 organs to work with. What else? Yeah. And you can put belt on ring or on belt. So you don't have to go for the waist slot. You can go for a ring slot and still use Winter of Origin. As an example. You can also do something like, if you are going for a more defensive approach, Light Hunter is also a good choice for Voraxing, because you get the benefits of Light Hunter without the downsides, as it potentially. Yeah, basically that is the expensive part, trying to fit everything in the right order. I think I got very lucky, and I got it in like 5 organs, something like that. Because like once I got to the state I wanted, I don't know if I sent him the screenshot. I didn't send him the exact screenshot, but I do know where that screenshot is. Has image. I can't use from because streamer mode. Okay. There it is. There. This was the win state for my Vorax, and looking at this, it has no mod I care about. But you can see what it has, right? It has the ultimate, the advanced, and the mods I care about from Winter of Origin on either side. So from this point on, all I have to do is slap advanced on prefixes to reroll this until I get a T1, T0 modifier I care about. Do the same thing for suffixes, get a T1, T0 I care about. Then do the same thing for ultimates. For ultimates, you find the way you do ultimates is ultimates use a body part, right? You find a cheap body part for ultimates. So in my case, +1 max agility blessing was the cheapest. So I would use this, and I'd use this, which I cared about, that was more expensive. So what I would do is I try this. If I got a T2, I would use this to replace it, because you can't replace it with itself. You have to use something else. So I use this to replace it, and then put this again. And if it doesn't go T1, I do it again. So you just find the cheapest alternative that you can use to remove it, and then replace it until you get T1, T0. I can do that until I get T0. And the same thing for cooldown recovery. I got lucky and I got T0 very early, so I didn't complain, you know? But yeah, that's Vorax crafting in a nutshell. Now, where were we? We're watching the interview.
Already in the pipeline. You know, like it's like we know there's certain bosses that we need and stuff like that.
Oh, you're welcome. Happy to help. Let me know if you have any questions. And I mean, if you're doing the craft and you run into a situation you're not sure where to progress, you know, feel free to ask.
That, and we're like, okay, sometime around 1.2 we're probably going to need this, so let's get it started into the pipeline now. So there's certainly some longer things like that.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's funny because we're like, okay, I mean, as I'm once again, I'm sure you'll probably remember, we're like, okay, the league that's after Christmas is never going to be the big one that has the thing, so therefore the 1.2 therefore has to be the one, and you know, like pretty much that's how you sort of end up with that stuff.
That's amazing. Like, this may just be like a conspiracy theory I had back when I was trying to work on league planning stuff, but it always felt that the league around September was small because like my blame at the time was like, you know, northern hemisphere people going back to school or whatever, and there was always this dip. Like I remember Delve, one of our best leagues we ever made by far, just having such a big dip. It was like quiet and no one
I think
seemed to
that is
care
still
at the time.
Jonathan's
And
favorite, right?
I thought, well, that's the September curse, and then you've got the January, February, March curse where you've made it over Christmas, as you say, and then you've also got like a new seasonal game coming out every week because there's going to be a Diablo 4 season and a Diablo 3 season and a Diablo 2 season and a Diablo 2 Resurrected season and World of Warcraft Classic and World of Warcraft season of whatever they've got going on and Last Epoch. And how do you like, and then there's the GTA 6 release, right? Which is just a crater where that happens. Like how do you time all of this stuff these days with so much going on?
Well, I have to say, we usually don't pay too much attention to the other RPG releases because we honestly couldn't. And honestly, the community would slay us if they thought that we were delaying things just because some other game had a thing coming out. That being said, like, GTA 6 is a bit of a problem. Like, if there's a release you're going to avoid, I would say that's the one. But thankfully, since they're not on PC, then it's like not as big of a thing. But the thing is, they're going to buy out like literally all the media, like all the things will be that, like anything that it's possible to spend money on, I'm sure they'll be spending it on. So probably not a good idea, even just for that reason alone, to launch like on the same weekend as them, I would say.
Well,
But,
That's a very good
GG always
point,
had the
actually.
David versus Goliath thing going on, right? So why not take on
that's a
Rockstar?
Goliath I don't want to take on, quite frankly. Like that's the that one's kind of big. But yeah, I mean, just generally speaking, in terms of other ARPGs and stuff, I mean, look, I wouldn't launch on someone else's release day intentionally, but if there's other constraints around, I'm certainly not going to shy away from it just because, you know, like we've got our own thing going, we've got our own audience, like we can deal with it. It's just been a bit unfortunate recently how often that's occurred, like seemingly randomly. So
Last
I don't know if someone
Epoch.
else is doing that intentionally or not. But,
So there are kind of two strategies for scoping release dates and content, right? One of them is we fix a date and then release with the content that's available, which isn't easy if the content has to be a certain size, like a league, for example. You don't want to release with a half-finished league and say that's what we have. And then, of course, the other approach is, you know, take your time to get it right and release it without a degree of predictability. Once the dust has settled on 1.0 and you're going forward with a plan and resources and so on, which do you expect you'll be doing? Like, how are you going to have a rigid schedule? Or
well, it's definitely fix the date and have the content move, but there's always has to be a little bit of you know, like sometimes you can't necessarily change the scope easily as you get towards the actual release date because what you'd have to cut will either be so large that it completely undercuts the release, or there's just like no like place you can sort of pick at it to easily pull it apart. So sometimes you do end up with sort of like 1 week delays around that sort of stuff. And this last one we did, so I mean, like that was even our intention, like during PoE 2's early access, and like we've actually improved that a lot recently with like PoE 1's definitely successfully back on that train again, and PoE 2 sort of mostly is. What's been tricky though is just that with an example of the whole thing of having one thing that's too big in scope and therefore you can't sort of do anything but delay is all this endgame stuff where it's like, because we want to do it in one big package, it's then becomes something where it's like, you know, you don't want to cut one league because then it sort of undercuts the whole message. So yeah, like that's the kind of stuff that's been really difficult in that. But it was like we certainly strive for just like cut stuff until the deadline works, because people really do actually prefer the regular updates, and you don't want to disappear into a hole and just work on something forever either. Like I think I said it earlier, but like it really is the case that the bigger the thing you're working on is, the more work it takes to make it at all. So I think that like having shorter release cycles and like releasing more often honestly produces more work rather than less. Like you really want to be just producing things on as fast a cadence as possible.
Yeah,
that you
I
can get
think
away with.
that produces more aggregate entertainment hours as well, I suspect. More releases means more people coming back for more releases and so
I mean, I
on.
guess so, but I wouldn't really think about it that way. Like, it really is, I think, in terms of just being able to make content at a reasonable speed. Like, it's sort of an interesting phenomenon where that I noticed of the team as well. Is like, so we had developers who were working on things to the they were working on PoE 2 for a long time before it was released, and then we had developers who were working on like leaks for PoE 1. And the people who've been working on PoE 2 for a really long time, like they've gotten out of the habit of like actually like finishing things and getting them, because like it kind of wasn't in a release. And it actually took a little bit of effort to sort of get people back on the train again of like, oh yeah, that's right, we have to actually ship things quickly. Like, it actually is quite difficult. And I honestly feel like a lot of the reason why a lot of larger games fail is just because they're not shipping fast enough. Like, you can probably make a game better in less time, I actually believe, compared to what you get in a long time. Like, there's something really focusing of just like having a deadline that's relatively close by.
So,
I mean, that is true.
one of the issues that I felt when working on these leagues, like this happened like 35 times and you were sitting right there alongside me every time, was just that things ended up coming in hot every time, right? Like, we're still working on stuff. Like, there's the story about how I remember vividly sitting next to you at midnight on Synthesis release day and saying, hey, Jonathan, we still have to like check that you're happy with how the tile generation works for Synthesis. And you say, oh yeah, we should do that.
I remember now, yeah.
And you rewrote it with 3 hours to go to a release, basically. And
That is
It
crazy.
was much better afterwards. So I was pretty happy with that rewrite.
My responsibility there was making sure we picked the safe option, and the safe option was you rewriting it in 45
Well, the thing is
minutes
that the much worse one that you probably wouldn't appreciate was we rewrote quite a significant portion of the database backend literally the night before shipping 010 for PoE 2. Like,
But it made it better.
It was the thing is like we realized something about the load testing. We were like, oh, we never tested this thing, and then we changed something.
Dude's actually crack. He is apparently.
Crap! This is like a very big problem. We'll call this stuff tomorrow, and then we came up with some pretty ridiculous ideas on how to.
My internet cut off for a split second, so that was annoying. Is it still cutting out? No, it looks like it's back. Yeah, it looks like it's back.
Improve that, and like someone on our team literally rewrote all the saving. Like, they added compression to character saves as like a last ditch thing. Like, bear in mind, we're like hours before release, and it's like, okay, look, how about we try this? This is like this is a pretty crazy one. So yes, I'm certainly no stranger to that kind of thing happening from time to time.
Yeah, compression on saves is a good idea because that can take place on the instance, right?
Yep,
and there's a lot of stuff in there, like the waypoint list and so on.
Yeah, made them way smaller.
That's
the particular reason for needing that, by the way, is because once the size of a character gets above a certain size, it becomes larger than what's called a database page. And once it's larger than that, the performance gets really bad. So the PoE 2 characters, as it turned out, were just larger than the PoE 1 ones, and that's part of the reason why it wasn't the performance was just way worse.
So rather than me asking what compression you're getting, the important number here is what percentage of characters didn't fit in a page, and now what percentage do?
Before the test we were doing. In fact, I remember what the test was now. So the thing we did in the test is all the characters that we had were not in late in the game. They were all like, they had a lot of items and stuff like that in the load test we were doing, but they weren't like late in the game where they have way more quest flags. And the quest flags sent them over the edge, so anyone who gets like past Act 3 or 4 or something was getting above the limit of what could fit in the database page.
Yeah. I can imagine.
So just by wait. So you're telling me that in a different universe, we would literally have situations where you pick up one quest, and now your performance just enters the toilets potentially. Like, that could have actually been a thing. Like, oh, Act 1, you're chilling. You get to the town, you're fine. You pick up the quest to kill Crowbell, to kill the Worm, the Devourer, to kill all these other guys, and you're like, okay, I want to beeline through campaign, then come back and get all my points and all of that. And then by the time you're getting to Act 2, you're just like, God damn, man, it takes loading zones takes like 5 minutes now. Your character's sweating as he sees the next instance. He's like, oh boy. Here we go again.
all
So
zeros
then-
or all ones, right?
Yeah, we just added like a really like I can't even remember what compression it was, but like it probably half the size of a character, but more importantly, it's below the threshold, and now the performance is good again. So
Yeah,
you know,
that's cool.
like,
That's cool. So where I was going with me commenting that when I was there, we never had any time to really test stuff is how has that been? Is it still down to the wire with releases? Because I imagine it's hectic. Or have you managed to like has the console simultaneous deployment meant that you've got some breathing room for testing and stuff?
I would say it's getting better, but then on the other hand, it also isn't. Like it always feels hectic, and ultimately the reason for that is because if there's more time, people want to do more, right? Like people are always going to be like, okay, like I can squeeze in a couple more uniques, I can squeeze in this or that, right? So you end up with a situation where people the work always expands to fill the space that there is.
Yeah.
So
felt that
it's
my
very
role
hard
there
to
was-
actually.
Yeah, I found my role there was saying no to people in the last 2 weeks, and
Yeah, for sure.
hopefully you're keeping the no's coming.
Well, we try, but then on the other hand, maybe I'm not as good at it as you were.
Well, here's the key thing. Being completely honest, when I was fully in charge of scope of something, it would end up smaller, like Sentinel. There was less in there. When you and Mark were involved, there were more yeses and more cool stuff was delivered. Obviously, I was petrified about the risk associated with there's so much extra stuff to test in the last minute, and maybe that led to more problems or something. But the releases where you guys got to decide scope had so much more interesting stuff coming, because that extra 10% on top is where the special stuff is in PoE, and I never had the guts to do it myself.
Well, the tricky thing is that probably the coolest stuff is the stuff that comes in the latest, because you get to build on top of the things that you already like built. Like you've got the actual systems working, and it's like now let's think of some cool stuff. And one thing I would say about 050 is there's just a lot of the like weird cool things. Like you're like, okay, here's an ascendancy class, but look, there's a hidden node, and if you do this quest line, then you like commune with the dreamer, and then like the it unlocks this, modifies the class like slightly, so it's got this extra node in it, and just stuff like this. Just lots of things like that.
Yeah.
Surely Chayula Monk.
Like there's like hidden. It's like here's this hidden passage in this one particular map, and if you walk past it with a specific item, then the rune will glow, and then if you walk up to it, the door opens, and inside there's like a crafting bench, and then on that thing you can like take these things, and there's just the stuff like that. Just like lots and lots of these little things.
That's cool.
So we're getting a dreamer based.
Having a lot of stuff like that.
I think potentially Chayula Monk hidden ascendancy.
Just sneak in like that I won't know about. But she does on purpose, by the way. So don't judge Jonathan about this random thing. But it's fine. So there's just like lots of little cool things.
I strongly recommend not announcing or showing those. Of course, the temptation is it's more stuff to put on the live stream.
Yeah.
But of course,
we'll show a couple of them, and I'll hint towards a couple of others. But like there'll be more that they won't have seen. Like there's quite a few.
So on the topic of the 10%, extra stuff that can go on top, one thing you and I tried a long time ago was to release a follow-up patch after a league launch, usually after a bad league launch, with extra stuff. And what we found at the time, at least my recollection of this, is that the players playing appreciated more content. Their Reddit comments would be a bit less angry because they changed the stuff and fixed it. But it
a
didn't
bit
bring
less
players
angry.
back. And so, in terms of changing the shape of the graph or the income being generated during the follow-up patch, the extra 10% after release had little benefit, apart from, good feelings. But I can imagine what you're saying here is by fitting that 10% into the release, everyone gets to benefit from it.
Yeah, well, you certainly want that. No, well, the thing you were saying there about like so when it comes to seasonal content like this, you really want to just concentrate as much as you can in the season as possible. However, there is a really important thing, which is that you don't want people to feel, the people who are playing, to feel sour about the league, because that will influence the results you get next season. So you do actually need to fix stuff and improve it. But it's really challenging, especially when the things that need fixing are actually nerfs. Then you've got like sort of the double-edged sword problem. So like there was things like, this is actually a PoE 1 example, but it's like, okay, we had some things where there were some mechanics with the Breach prequel that people weren't happy about. And so it was sort of really important to make sure that we'd got those sorted out by the time the next release comes along. Otherwise, it would just be a bunch of people complaining about that. So you do really need to make sure that you're at least improving all that stuff. But in terms of like adding more content, like more uniques or something, it's just not really going to matter because...
maybe this is part of why we see them making all those big patches mid-league, when I would consider the league dead, where it's like, oh, they released a Mirage patch that fixed the City Square boss Like if you guys remember from last PoE 1 league, there was a City Square Mirage situation happening where basically it would get one of the bosses in, and because it's only one of the bosses, they would be frozen. You wouldn't be able to access it, but the game would still consider it a map boss, and then you still have a map boss, and you need to do things that are map boss related, and it just wouldn't work because you don't have a map boss, right? And this had a lot of like pain points when it came to like I want to say boss rushing, Cyrus imitation farming, I think was it, an Elder as well. Those two, they would be problematic because now instead of getting a free Cyrus or a free Elder, now you just have whatever's left of your Mirage, So they fixed that like what I think like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, like way after like everyone I know had quit, and like TLI I think had already released and stuff like that. So like I'm thinking, why y'all even fixing this at this point? Like who's playing to experience it? But I think this might be a big reason why. That, and I think Mirage might be going core, which is why they would fix it, because then it would reduce the work for later. But like
it's like most people are kind of like wanting to go play the season, and then then they're done with it and they want to come back next season, so it doesn't end up really mattering too much about adding content. Like it doesn't juice numbers or anything.
Yeah,
that's like interesting as well.
It doesn't juice numbers
from a lot of other game companies is that like, oh, you need to run a bunch of seasonal events, you need to do like all this sort of stuff. Like it's like a constant refrain that you get. Like if you look at the mobile game space, it's like they're like all about the events. Like it's just constantly like you have to do something every week or whatever to prevent people from leaving. But it's just not our MO at all. Like our goal is like give you a satisfying experience. They leave, you come back later.
Yeah.
And it's honestly the hardest thing to convince people of. And like even a lot of the time people believe they understand that, they still don't really. Like there's that talk that you did at GDC that people commonly reference where we talk about this quite a lot.
Yes.
And the funny thing is that like people will reference that and talk about it and link it to each other and all that sort of stuff. But yet when I talk to these people in person, I still feel like they still don't actually understand. They're not really willing to commit what they would really need to commit to really do that. Like in particular, most people are incredibly petrified of economic resets. Like people just actually, most games just do not have the balls to actually reset people's progress. And yet I would say that it's like one of the major reasons why Path of Exile 1 still is going today. Like if we did not do that, I just don't think Path of Exile 1 could possibly have lasted as long as it did. So
it's a bit of a shock to the system to new players, but once they experience the joy of doing a league start and then the joy of doing another league start where it feels fair, then they're addicted.
It does take a little while to get into, because I mean, like you'll start, of course people will be, you get the whole thing, oh, we need to skip the campaign. Like people start to ask, oh, I don't want to have to do it again if I already did it and that kind of stuff. But it's like, it's really important that you don't, because it's so important that everyone feels like they're on a fair playing field. And it's like part of the reason why you still don't get new users at all. It's like Path of Exile 1 still gets new users today. Not like a lot, but we do get them. And so like that's part of the reason why Path of Exile 1's still good. And, I actually found out a metric recently that I'd never actually looked at specifically, or at least hadn't for a long time, which maybe you'd find interesting as well, which was that between the last two PoE 1 releases, even though they were approximately the same size, only 40% of the makeup of the next league launch was from the previous league launch.
Really? And were those players from past ones, or they weren't?
Yes,
genuinely
they
new,
weren't.
right?
Most of the players weren't new players, but yet only 40% of the people actually played from one league to the next. So what I'm saying is that a huge amount of people are actually, they'll come back like 3 or 4 leagues later and try it again and that kind of stuff. Like there's actually a lot of that going on as well. So you end up with a situation where for a PoE 1 launch you might only get like 10 or 15% truly new players. And then it's like 40% of people who played the last league, and then the rest of them are people who played like several leagues ago.
That's fascinating, because in the past we had efforts to enlist new players, marketing to new audiences. You had the efforts to return the users from the last one, but there weren't necessarily, we didn't have a strong way of reactivating people from, past leagues. And I wonder, are those users watching the live stream? Like when you announce new league, does everyone tune in and then they decide if they're playing or not, if they want to make
I have a feeling that is what it is. Like, and that's, I think, why it's sort of important to have a variety of different leagues with different like feels, because I think there are certain people who will come back with certain things and not others, and that's just kind of fine. Like it's just sort of nice that you can do a variety like that. And yeah, like I guess you'll have some tentpole releases, right? Like Settlers was like a really huge one that like I think a larger than normal amount of people came back for, which is why it was so large. I mean, there was the whole thing about how PoE 2's release was coming up, and there's like various other tailwinds that were good for it. But
yeah, also to bear in mind with Settlers, sorry to interrupt, but because that was one that you and Mark did, it was the 10% larger than the Chris ones. So
but I mean, it just presented really well, and like it was just a really good league like that. So I think a greater than usual number of people came back. But the reason why I was actually looking at this at all is because I
said this before, and I said it again, and I'll say it again. Settlers is and has been the only league that we've had in PoE 1 where as soon as I saw it, I just instantly wanted it to go core. Instantly, like before launch, I'm like, yeah, I want this going core, please, and thank you, GDG, appreciate it.
Like I saw the number, what it was for PoE 2, and I was kind of disappointed in it. And I was like, well, I should look at what the number is for PoE, like in terms of like people who come from, I went from 0.30 to 0.40. And then I was like, okay, but what is it for PoE 1? And I found the PoE 1 number was actually lower. And I was like, okay, this seems like kind of strange. But as I said, I think it's just because PoE 1's got such a large base of people who, like who come back every few leagues.
Yeah.
That that's the reason why it can be like that.
Yeah, I imagine for a very enfranchised player who knows the game backwards, they really want to play. If the release comes out and they're visiting their grandparents that weekend or something, and they kind of can't play as much as they'd like to, they're like, "Sweet, I know there's another one in 3 or 4 months. I'll play then." And then.
But it's also part of the thing of like running seasonal as opposed to ones where you're constantly running events. Is that like the downside, as it were, is that if you don't get people on that weekend, it's quite unlikely to get them later either. So you're putting all your eggs in one basket there. But I still think it's the superior strategy because there aren't really very many games that have lasted as long as PoE has. Most of the other ones. In fact, like, what is another PvE game that has lasted as long as PoE has? It's like they're actually incredibly rare. There's a few, I think. Around.
World of Warcraft?
Yes, sure.
EVE Online? Does that count as PvE?
That game is such a so far outside my understanding that I don't even know if I can qualify that one way or the other. Like that's like a sort of a completely incomprehensible to me. I have no idea what's going on with EVE Online. So.
I had a conversation with the EVE developers a long time ago, 10 years ago, and I'm sure they won't mind me mentioning this now because it's been so long, but the designers I spoke to had this concern that when they add content to EVE Online, the players expect it to be there forever. And therefore, they can't experiment with interesting stuff. And they expressed direct jealousy with our leagues. We could introduce something crazy, and then worst case scenario is you break the game because it was Harvest, right?
For sure. Well,
sorry.
We do. The funny thing is that we do actually end up bringing most of what we put in back. We just get to tweak it along the way, so it doesn't having to be like a millstone around our neck for so long.
Yeah, my rule of thumb was to have the league out, then to take it away for one league cycle.
Yeah, for one league cycle, and then bring it back the one after.
Right, because then when you bring it back, it's okay to come back with changes.
But we don't always necessarily do that. It kind of comes down to a little.
Settlers was there instantly, I think.
But I mean, the other thing is
that was like the only one I think in recent times
because we're sort of filling out the core. There's definitely expectation, all that stuff to stay around, which probably won't be the case post 1.0. Like after that point, it'll be like the leagues are kind of like temporary more explicitly. Yeah. Then we decide which ones we want to keep or not. But
it's like Rise of the Abyssal in the end game, for example. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So it's pretty cool actually in the new one because now that we've got everything on the Atlas, there's like giant abyss cracks that are like on the generated Atlas.
Oh, that's cool.
And then you can close those by running maps along the lines. So it actually kind of works out being a similar mechanic to memory lines in PoE 1. We like run along a thing, except it's like a giant continent scale abyss crack, and then you're closing it one map at a time. So that one's kind of cool.
I remember when you pitched the look of the Atlas, like having a 3D like landscape that's infinite in all directions, back when we were working on it. And like at the time I was so busy with other stuff in PoE 1 that I didn't really like watch it develop day to day. But then one day I go downstairs and check in with you, and there's this insane 3D rendered like, infinite Atlas thing. And it's very cool what the team can do. I actually had a question about this. You have to indulge my technical question here, but okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. In the new announcement, you have like an infinite ocean that's part of the Atlas. So does that mean that there's just a portion where one direction is water and the other direction is land? Right. Okay, so my memory is this stuff was being generated procedurally using like overlapping Perlin noise clouds or something like that. Okay.
So when you're generating a something that's infinite in size,
entering full nerd mode
independently of the other blocks. So you need some way of saying, okay, if I can as I said, I can generate this. I don't have to know what was next door in order to be able to generate this. So that you can generate in any arbitrary location. So games like Minecraft and stuff work this way, right? Where you can kind of just say, like, you just for an arbitrary location on the map, okay, here's a place I'm going to generate. So overlapping noise is a really good way to do that. You effectively just take like a bunch of like trigonometry functions like sine and cosine and stuff, multiply them and add values, things like that, and then you get an overlapping one. You end up with like a kind of cloudy looking layer. And then in the case of a game like ours, which has biomes, you can kind of look at it kind of like different heights. Like if you imagine like that there's the mountain, there's like the mountain biome is like a height map, and then you've got like the plains biome as a height map. If you overlay them two on top of each other and you say, okay, wherever the plains are higher, there's going to be plains, and wherever the mountains are higher, it's going to be mountains. You can kind of like effectively imagine how you can get like kind of interesting shapes developing from that. So it's effectively just a bunch of overlapping noises where you pick whatever the highest one is. And so in the case of something like an ocean, where you want to have like, you don't want to have just like a flat border on the edge, but you still want to have it, like blend into it with some interesting shapes. All you have to do is just say, okay, there's like there's a slow blend where we blend in the ocean biome from 0 to 1 over like a certain distance.
So it interpolates it in.
And effectively interpolates it in. But what that happens is because all the other things have got like various heights, the ocean just becomes more prevalent until the point where it's the only thing that's there. So you get quite like a nice borderline, so long as you can sort of define where the edges in some sort of like fuzzy way like that. And so then you end up with an infinite ocean. But then on top of that, we wanted to have islands in the ocean. So then once you're in the ocean area, there's like a different set of random noises that overlap to create islands. And so I think there's I'm not 100% certain about the exact way, but there's like a thing that creates the island shapes, and I believe it uses the old noise functions for the biomes in order to generate the different shapes of the islands. But then what we do is, like, if it was forest, we instead make it a bunch of palm trees so that it looks like an ocean island. And if it was mountains, it'll instead be, that have like snow and stuff on them. It'll instead be like a thing that looks more like the oceans and the water. So like, there's kind of like a set of alternate art variations, effectively, for the biomes that are on islands in the ocean. So
how do you control the distribution of the islands and making sure they don't collide with each other and stuff?
Well, they can, in which case you just get a big island. Like the island, we're not generating islands, we're just generating a noise function that happens to produce island-looking shapes.
So there's a sea level somewhere. That
effectively, you look at it as a sea level, yeah. But it's the same as you do the other thing, right? You just take whatever is the maximum value of two overlapping noise functions and tweak the parameters until it sort of looks about right.
Yeah. Okay, so the mechanic doesn't need a discrete island.
No, it doesn't. Right. So basically, the infinite ocean, there's effectively blocks that you explore. So you send out the ships, and then all of the to a given block using a logbook, and then anything that's there will be explored, and then that will may include islands, may not, but it definitely includes at least maps that are like, so when I say islands, by the way, there are like islands that are like one map pin, which is like just like one map, and then there's larger islands that like have a structure to them that have like different biomes and stuff on them. So there'll always be at least various maps to do when you do one of these, but it's just kind of fun to like go from island to island. We do a few things.
I wonder if there are going to be any islands
between maps on the islands are like relatively small, but the distances on the ocean are quite large. So you get the feeling of traveling between hopping around between island chains.
That's really cool.
I wonder if there's any wacky island situation going on where like you might have an island that has two different biomes, because I feel like seeing as Rayclass is not the most logical, I would say that would honestly be pretty cool. Like if you had, I don't think we're going to have snow biome islands. That wouldn't make much sense. But like if you had like what he said, where it's like it's replaces islands or degeneration of what would have been biomes. So instead of getting a desert, you instead get this alternate art-esque style island. I wonder if you can have like two different biomes overlap, and even though it picks the highest one, it still takes features from the second one, so you now have a new dynamic looking island, if you will. That would be cool if they did it, that'd actually be cool.
No, I'm excited.
Depending especially on how different these biomes look.
One of the problems that we
for the islands
was like lack of executive bandwidth, if you see what I mean. There was me and you and Mark. Eric had left a couple of years earlier, and there wasn't enough time to do everything. Like, the PoE mobile wasn't getting the attention it deserves internally and so on. And I solved this by making the problem way worse by leaving, but left you guys in a bad situation, obviously.
Solved it?
Your time being further stretched. But How has it been going these days? Like I hear that Mark has found people to run an internal PoE 1 team that he can supervise as opposed to having to work on it himself.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously there's like a lot of things of like company structure, but I would say that one of the things that is like a lot of this sort of company level stuff.
Octavian and Andrew.
Not worry too much about it, and like most of it kind of goes away. Like I don't actually know that. Like, okay, so there are probably things that are getting left by the by the wayside here that probably mean that there's like various intangible benefits that we might have otherwise gotten are kind of being left by the wayside. Like I'm sure some of the like random deals you're doing and that kind of stuff like sort of probably mattered. But honestly, like I try to focus as much as I can on just the game development, like, and not really too much on the sort of company running stuff. And like there are people who like do operations and things like that. We can, that can handle things. But yeah, it's honestly not too bad. So I really try and focus on the game development as much as possible, and anything that's kind of not that, like that's not directly going to be responsible for making the game better, I try to just make sure that someone else is handling that.
I understand. So in the managing director / CEO position, you have decision-making authority, your responsibility, the direction of the company, but you don't want to be doing like pretend CEO job all day. You just want to make the decision and move back to the game.
For sure. So I mean, like I basically have like a sort of half an hour meeting every morning of like, here's the sort of company things that have come up. And I try to limit everything to that so that I'm not spending all day doing that kind of stuff. Because it would be really easy to just like spend a bunch of time on that stuff. And, it's just the questions. I don't know like how much value like you really get out of that. I mean, there's things that are important, right? Like we're deciding to do things like ExileCon, and there's a lot that needs to go on there. You need to hire people to work on that, and you need to do all this sorts of stuff. But as I said, I try to really focus on the game for the most part, because that's the part I actually enjoy. And I wouldn't want to, like basically have my job be not that part too much, because otherwise, then I'd be wanting to leave, I suppose. Being able to do the fun part is, I suppose, the thing that actually keeps someone around and wanting to keep doing it.
This is kind of try to avoid the ultimate threat. Someone brings you paperwork, and you're like, I can do this paperwork for you, but consider before you ask, because if I become unhappy, this all falls over.
Right. It's but yeah, that's why I just try to stick on the game. So probably the part that I like the two things that I kind of work on the most, like in terms of the areas, is like the environment side, like making the new acts and areas, and also working on the new character classes. So like I'm doing a lot of that sort of forward-looking work. Whereas Mark tends to be doing the things like doing league work. I mean, I still work on the design. Like, I mean, the last league that we made, the Temple one, I made the like simulation for that. So I'm still like even occasionally doing some coding. But a lot of the time, like, because Mark usually does things like the monster design and boss design and stuff like that. So he's like often handling the kind of like that moment-to-moment gameplay stuff there.
So tell me about the simulation stuff, because I remember when we did the initial Incursion League, the first temple a long time ago, that started with us, like, I may have just like, made a fake memory here, but we're like cutting up bits of paper and laying out a temple on the carpet on the ground. And like, we've got a board game version, as it were, of Incursion. And then you then coded that into a simple implementation that let us simulate it for the, like, you did a really good betrayal simulator, I remember. That was actually like a powerhouse, that thing.
Actually,
like
there was remember that one.
A separate C++ implementation of Betrayal that you could run.
Yeah, I sort of vaguely maybe remember about that, but yeah, I mean, but look, doing that kind of stuff, doing the simulators is exactly the kind of stuff that I actually quite enjoy doing. So I did the same thing for Incursion as well, where effectively what I did is I just took one of our tools and just made like a thing where you can open a screen, which is just like, here's the effectively card game version of the temple. And doing that stuff is also good because you can there's a lot of things that you don't really appreciate whether the gameplay is going to be good until you've actually tried it. So there were just a lot of decisions that I thought I knew that I wanted it to work a certain way, and then when I actually tried it in the simulator, I realized immediately that it didn't. So and there was like a lot of things where we sort of eased up on a lot of the rules and like made it easier to connect things and that sort of stuff. And I don't think I would have done that if we had not been having the simulator early. Because a lot of that stuff, like if I was to just put a league like that straight into the game, like a sort of technical league like that, I think you really would, like you'd be in the last few days and realizing, kind of like we did with Synthesis, that we needed to change the generation for it. Like Synthesis is an example of a game of a league where we didn't make a simulator for the sort of mechanics of it, and that meant that like because it all sort of has to come together before you can really play it, you then realize that, okay, we actually have to change quite a lot about this. So I mean, that's the reason why you do it. And really, everyone should do this, and everyone knows this. But then at the same time, it can be tough when you're staring down like a relatively fast league turnaround, and then actually budget time towards something like that. Because you know, like it's easy to think, okay, we understand what we want this to be. We can just make this and hope that things come together. But yeah, it definitely isn't as good when we do that.
Yeah, I remember for Delve and Prophecy, I made these gigantic Excel spreadsheets where using, I'm losing a lot of geek points here, using Visual Basic for applications, which is what we script Excel with, it would implement the simulator kind of stuff. And every time you hit refresh, it would populate down like it had a list of world areas for a run through the game with how much sulfite you'd collect in each one, how many delves it let you do, and given the number of delves on average, how much progress you'd make. And then I'll let you say things like, okay, by maps, I'm at this depth, and therefore we can have it so that the catch-up mechanic went to that depth minus 10% and so on. And yeah, as you're saying, it made it so much easier to have a separate thing to do that, because otherwise, if you're relying on the game version, it's ready, 3 days before release, and have fun balancing that.
Yeah. So you did the gameplay simulation of that thing, and then I think I did the actual generator for the map for that
Which
one.
is like the Atlas one, right?
Yeah, the Atlas one. And that actually it worked exactly like the Atlas one actually. And that one came in handy because I ended up using the same thing for the card game at ExileCon, the last one.
Yes.
So it was kind of handy that I'd written that, because it meant that I could really easily take that and turn into that, which we ended up using for that.
Speaking about ExileCon card games, do not confirm what's happening at this ExileCon, because I understand it has to be a surprise for all of us. And as an attendee rather than a host, I am looking forward to being surprised. But have you had time to do planning of what's happening with that kind of content?
So I do have an idea for what I'm doing with the card game, but I haven't started writing it yet.
Holy.
Card game is kind of one of those things that I sort of do in my spare time at home. So I'm not going to be sitting there.
I think I'm going to have so much fun on the ExileCon trip.
During the 050 cycle for this kind of thing. So after 050, my plan is to go and start, as my little hobby home project, get the card game sorted out. And there's lots of other ExileCon planning going on. And we've got broadly we know there's things like the crafting benches and all that sort of stuff, and like the map system and stuff like things like that we need. So there's space planned out at ExileCon for that, but the exact mechanics of the game in terms of what the league expansion is for it is not something that other people have know about yet.
There's this second layer to the card game design, which is to do with the availability of humans to run it, because obviously the staff love engaging with the players, right? Like, it's a highlight, the fact they get to go and play the card game with players, but it's tiring. And, as we found out with the first one, if you stick a t-shirt on someone and hand them some cards and say, go engage with the players for 6 hours in a row, they...
Yeah, well, that's why last time we made it so that people have 2-hour shifts of wearing the t-shirts rather than do that. So we'll do that again. Plus, we've got more staff now, so we can actually have a similar number of monsters for with half-time shifts. So that works out okay.
That's very cool. Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't want to be in that position again, because it is overwhelming to be that swarmed by people in my position. But it was one of the highlights of the last ExileCons, is getting to talk to players who. The people who were fighting me and you, as it were, because we had the highest t-shirts on, were people who had mastered the card game. They'd arrived with the goal of doing really well at the card game. And it helped that there were rumors that someone was offering $2,000 for the card game prize. Remember those Mirror of Calandra pins? Anyway. So the people that came up to fight the card game against me were people that were so passionate about it, they'd made it their identity. There was this guy, lovely guy actually, he was at the Ultra VIP party, who had pre-arranged card game strategy to buy the starter decks that came in the backpack off people who didn't intend to play. He had some amount he was offering them, and I don't approve of the real money trading of cards to cheat at the event, but it did mean that he was able to get through the first couple of levels of the card game slightly faster and get to the monsters that weren't quite as swarmed as the other ones, and it was like a league launch.
Well, I can get you a t-shirt for the next ExileCon, Chris. You can at least go for some of the time. Get some
Whatever you need me to do, Jonathan, just let me know. I'll be available. Yeah. When are you announcing obviously you'll still be working on it, but when do you plan to announce the schedule of what's happening at ExileCon?
Oh, it'll be a little bit later. I mean, we already talked about broadly what's going to be there, but in terms of the exact schedule, it's a little bit later, because we need to get all of the talks and everything from all that stuff written. And yeah, as I said, probably a little bit after 050, I would say.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I had a question about the league design stuff we were just discussing. So obviously, you and I know how leagues used to work when we did dozens of them for PoE 1. But these days, is the process of making a league for PoE 2 different than the way that we made it for PoE 1? Bearing in mind, how PoE 2 leagues get integrated into the end game? Are there any big differences there?
Not really, to be honest. It's pretty much the same stuff, because at the end of the day, the formula that we worked out in terms of all the things you need to have in a league is still very much the case. I would say the main difference is that the level of narrative complexity is higher than what we previously had in terms of like the quality of the events you need to do and that kind of thing.
You want to have like a storyline that runs through it because you've got those the progress indicators now, right?
Yes, but it's not just that. It's kind of like, just the overall quality of what you're doing just needs to be high in order to match with the rest of the game. So you kind of can't really half-ass it the way that like maybe we would have, like some years back. There's just quite a lot going on there, and that narrative stuff actually takes some of the largest amount of time because it requires a lot of different departments that are all moving together to create that stuff, and there's a lot of just like timing things and all sorts of stuff around that make it really hard.
Yeah,
it's probably one of the hardest things about 050 is because there's effectively the narrative content of 5 leagues in one release. Like there's so many of those narrative events, it just takes a really long time to get all that stuff working, and as I said, just one of the hardest things for whatever reason to actually to actually make good.
Early leagues in Path of Exile 1, like Anarchy, right? There's a Rogue Exile, that's the league, or Invasion, there's an extra monster that's hard to kill. They were quite simple, obviously, and it got more complicated as time went on. Budgets went up, quality standards went up, and so on. Do you think there'll be a situation later where these early PoE 2 leagues seem really primitive and simple compared to the monstrosities you'll be producing in 5 years?
Can you imagine if current day like Alva Temple is considered primitive? Like, just picture that. The whole, snake building is dead, right? So like the current version where there are rooms and you can attach them, and depending on what you attach, you get certain things, and that alters the rewards. And that temple, to think that there is a possibility that in 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, it just looks dead simple and primitive. It's kind of crazy. It's actually kind of crazy to imagine.
Well, it kind of already happened with the 010 leagues, but for a somewhat different reason, right? Because they were all made together. So I'd say what effectively, like a lot of what 050 is bringing all of those ones up to the standard that we've now effectively got for what a PoE 2 league needs to be. I don't necessarily foresee them getting like too much larger, because like on some level there's a limit to what you can actually do in like a 4-month time period. I think it should honestly be like relatively similar. And like, to be honest, like the PoE 1 has also got that sort of level of stuff going on with a lot of its leagues. Especially things like Settlers. So there's just a little bit of that coming on, just like the overall studio, like the kind of stuff, the kind of standards that we have as a studio are just higher now than they used to be too.
I wonder if you've got this process where you come up with a league idea, you make the simulator and you try the league idea out, which is a good opportunity. If you don't like it, you can fail at the simulator stage rather than once you've made the thing. Have you considered having like dedicated designers working on multiple leagues at a simulator level, where all they're doing is getting approved ideas that then get made sequentially later? So now it's time to do League A and you implement that, but League B and C and D are being prototyped and iterated on at a simulator level in the background?
Well, I guess I got a few concerns about that. So one of them is that not every league is the kind of league that should have a simulator. Like Abyss is an example of a league that's just like, it's not like the mechanic isn't
simulator worthy.
There's balanced simulation in the sense of like, you need to work out like, what the right number of the holes is and like, how, like stuff like that, right? Like there's things like that need to be done, but it's not like a simulator in the same way that Incursion would be.
Yeah. That one could be prototyped for fun testing.
I'd really say that only every other league is the kind of league that needs to do that, and that's probably a good thing because they attract different types of player bases. And the funny thing as well, by the way, is those sort of simulator type, heavy type leagues, a lot of them are actually less popular when they get first released, and then they tend to be more beloved later.
Once they're understood.
I've noticed.
Yeah.
What was I going to say?
You had another point about simulator leagues.
Right. But the other thing as well is that it's really actually hard to make a league before you in advance, because so much of what you make needs to be a response to what the community cares about right now anyway. So like you wouldn't really be able to say like obviously there's things like you're going to need some uniques, right? You're going to need a pinnacle boss. You're going to need stuff like that. But like in terms of what the mechanics are and like what the game feels like it's missing, it's sort of hard to know about that in advance. So it honestly makes it a little bit hard to really to do that stuff in advance. The other thing as well that I think that is a bugbear that I think some game companies have is that, we put everything into our leagues. And what I mean by that is like, we don't come up with like, here's a plan for like the next like, you know, years of content or whatever, and then like hold things back and kind of like, okay, here's when we're going to release this thing, whatever. It's like everything we come up with that's cool, we just do it immediately. And like there's always more ideas that you can have, like you can go back to the well and do it again. So I think that actually some game companies have run into problems where they like plan out this content schedule and then that's what they stick to, and then it's like they end up not really adding enough and that kind of thing. Like part of the reason why our leagues feel full is because like, you know, if we have an idea, we just want to do it immediately. And that does sort of lead to, you know, like a somewhat hectic schedule. But on the other hand, like you don't get this feeling of like missing this. And we actually almost made this mistake for 050. It's a little bit complicated to explain because like we kind of changed the plotline in order to not have this happen. But like we were going to have a situation where the boss that we were going to have was going to be one of like, it's like, oh, but like you haven't actually fought the true boss yet kind of thing. And it's actually a really crappy ending. And I'm like, I actually don't want to be in a state, even if interstitially, where like you haven't fought the boss that you know is coming in the future, you know, like it's actually really bad. So
based, fucking based, actually.
It did that, I think.
Okay, I wasn't thinking of anyone.
Diablo.
Effectively, like I actually think it's really
fucking
bad
Diablo.
something like, you know, like you get it all prepared for something and then it doesn't happen. It's like really crappy. So as I said, we almost made that mistake in 050 and then we changed it. Like we had to change quite a lot of plotline stuff and all.
You know, when he said that, I almost had PTSD thinking about my current, like the Diablo expansion I played, where it's like I had a, oh my god, did we kill Mephisto or not yet? Because in my head I'm like, I didn't exactly instantly remember the Mephisto fight and stuff like that, but it was a shit fight. I didn't instantly remember it, but then after like a brief, oh my god, don't tell me you have another. I was like, okay, yeah, we did actually kill him this time. This time, don't worry. This was the actual time. He's dead. Finally, after base game expansion 1, expansion 2, I finally let us kill him. You know, like, geez, that was actually us.
Yeah, that's just, I think it's important that like you see the goal, you get to the goal. So like, don't do something where it's like, oh, here's the series of like 4 bosses and then like you're going to fight one of them in this expansion and then you're going to fight the second one in the next expansion and that kind of stuff. Like you actually really want to, like, if you're going to do it, then just do them all at once, or don't do them, like, or don't even talk about the others or something, you know. Like it's okay to be like, here's one, and then like you don't know about the others at all, like they're not hinted at, they're not like a thing, but then later on there's more. But like don't really, I think it's just a really bad idea to make players feel like oh, you know, like I have to play later, I haven't even finished the story. Obviously, you know, we're in early access, we haven't finished the story because, you know, the storyline's not done, which is sort of unfortunate. But at least we're not doing it wherever we can, wherever we don't need to.
Yeah. Your point about throwing everything into each release definitely resonates. I remember a number of years ago when we were still finding our cadence and so on, I had this pipe dream of getting a league ahead or getting half a league ahead, right? And we quickly ran into the issue that if you do that, you become out of touch with the, you know, Reddit will decide 2 weeks before a release what needs to be in that release, and if you don't have that, if you haven't been reading the tea leaves just right, you know, before
Reddit will decide.
You feel off base and out of touch. So, and then the other thing I remember you talking to me in detail about at the time was that if we have extra content, releasing it in this expansion and just making more extra content later is probably the best thing to do. I'm always valuing the today player rather than making our lives have an easier time later on.
Yeah.
I was trying to overproduce it, I think, and, you know, the reality of what we did was the way you wanted, where we dumped everything in each expansion and they had more stuff as a result.
I mean, it's not like we can never produce
the based way.
Right? I mean, for example, like the acts that we're making, right? Obviously, a bunch of work has been done in the background, to make that happen. But it's honestly not the way I like working. And it's like part of the reason why I think I find like working in early access stressful, because you've got multiple things on the go at the same time rather than being able to just throw everything into one thing. There's a certain clarity you get just like being able to work on one thing. And so I honestly like, I just find these long pipelines to be quite stressful.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So I had a question. So early on, when we were discussing starting Path of Exile 2, one of our motivations for it was that we felt that because Path of Exile 1 was dozens and dozens of releases in, it was harder to get new players, right? Like jumping on a train that's been going for 10 plus years is difficult for some people. You know, the game has a reputation for being complicated. And so Path of Exile 2 was an opportunity as an onboarding point. And so my question is about accessibility. And, you know, I don't mean dumbing the game down or anything, but I just mean in terms of making sure that it's not, you know, too complicated for new players. So you've got this tension where on one hand, you need to be a worthy sequel to Path of Exile. And that means for many people, being more Path of Exile than Path of Exile is. But it's also a thing where if you are too, opaque and complicated for new players, obviously they'll bounce off it. How have you found trying to manage that, and do you think you've been successful at it?
The new build guide feature is going to be really good for that.
I think that my opinion is probably a little bit different from a lot of people, which is that I don't even.
And aside, I'll let him speak, but like another thing that I think has been really, really nice for PoE 2 versus PoE 1 in terms of like just new player onboarding and shit like that and whatnot is the simple fact that they decided to take the tooltip approach. What do I mean? If you see, let's say, Ignite or something, or you see Impale, it has a tooltip. It has the description of what it does in game that you can always just click and say, oh, this is what it does, without having to go to the wiki. And I think that was such an underrated decision, because it's, for the vast majority of first timers, it introduces it greatly streamlines that first experience to where for someone who is who gets the right uniques and is very, very I guess in touch with ARPGs, they might be able to figure out, okay, so I'm going for this build and this unique just dropped for this and it does this, and I clicked on this unique, the extra tooltip, and it says this is how it works. So I'm looking for this damage. It's like just poison, as an example. With poison, if without the tooltip, you might not even realize that physical damage can poison. So you might be, but it does chaos damage. So you might be like going too hard on chaos damage or whatever. But like just by reading the tooltip, you're like, okay, this weapon that gives me physical damage is actually really good, because I can poison with physical damage. Just it's the small things like that I think will overall make a much better first time experience for people who are just blind testing and just blind playing with new builds. And I think that for the new player experience is invaluable. That's my opinion.
I think that
you may speak, Jonathan.
Is probably a little bit different from a lot of people, which is that I think that Path of Exile 1 being such an old game is in itself the accessibility problem that it has. What I mean by that is that this isn't to say that Path of Exile 1 isn't complicated. It is. I just don't think that the complexity is necessarily the reason why new players don't play it. I think the main reason why new players don't play it when they're not going to play it is just like, well, this is a game that came out a decade ago. Like they feel like they've kind of missed the train. And so I don't think PoE 2 is necessarily, PoE 2 does have things that make it more accessible, but I wouldn't say that those were necessarily done because we're appealing to a different audience. It's more because we just thought that they were better designs that are just better in general for everybody who plays them. And I think the main reason why someone is going to play PoE 2 over PoE 1 is literally just because it's newer. Like, that is like a big factor for a lot of people, right? Like, there's just people who are like, okay, well, I never played PoE 1, I'm not going to get into it now. It's like really odd. It's just the way a lot of people will see things, right? But hey, PoE 2, it's a new getting on point. I can play it now. And like, I'm getting it on the ground floor and then I'm going to play it. And that's just going to make the audience bigger just from the purpose of, just from that alone. So I'm not like I'm looking at them and I'm not looking and saying I want to appeal to a bigger audience. I'm looking at this and being like, this is a sequel that will appeal to a bigger audience who never, because many people know about Path of Exile now, and the only reason they're not playing PoE 1 is just because it's old. So literally, it's like, even if we literally had appealed to exactly the same audience, I think we'd just have a bigger audience from that reason alone.
Good answer.
But, yeah, as I said, like I don't say that to say that I don't want to make things more accessible, because I mean it is good to make things better. It's just that I wouldn't be like I never want to be the person thinking I'm appealing to a different audience specifically, because I'm not. I'm just making the game better. And at the end of the day, the audience I'm appealing to really still is myself. Just whether I think things. So it's like things like the way the thing I use this example all the time, right? Like the support gem system is just easier to deal with in PoE 2. But it's not like I wouldn't have done that in PoE 1, like if I'd have thought of the way of that working back then, right? Like it's just that, we just didn't for whatever reason.
It's kind of amazing how well PoE succeeded despite having this system where if you're a new player, you have this really complicated thing where if I take my boots off, I can't cast Fireball anymore. Why is that? And if I'm a high level player, if I take my armor off to put a better one on that I found, I have to spend a week getting the sockets and stuff perfect again. Or however long it probably.
I don't think it takes a week, Chris.
I have my mind back.
I mean, it depends.
No,
Sure.
but you have to.
That sounds like the
balance
fucking
sockets
Stone
quite a bit
Ages,
in
can
order
I
to-
say?
in order to have it be equivalent. And it's one of those things where every player at every stage of the game has to understand, I need to be considering sockets with my items, which is, something that's cleaned up really tidily in Path of Exile 2. I've been quite pleased with the progress of watching early access so far from my vantage point. I've been seeing really cool things about the game, so I wanted to say thank you for doing a great job with it. I think that what PoE 2 has grown into is far bigger than both games grew into far bigger than we imagined, but PoE 2 is such a unique identity of itself. It could have easily been PoE 1 with better graphics and different sockets, but instead you've made something that feels like a very modern action RPG in a really good way.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're doing a good job. Well, thank you very much for having the chat with me today. It's been really interesting talking about this stuff, and I hope the viewers have found it fascinating as well.
Oh, I definitely did.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and
That was a very, very good interview. Holy. Actually. I am very curious to see what the biomes in the islands are gonna be. And honestly, it's just nice to hear game developers speak, especially about certain systems and things they consider. Some good insight, definitely. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Oh, do we get anything? Nope. Did I see the minion RF skill? Yeah. Riven Flock. RF. We have RF at home now. I've seen some people speculate that it might be baits, and honestly, I mean, it depends on the baseline numbers to see if it's actually going to be good on the budget. But one thing I will say about PoE 2 is, I mean, the landscape is changing, so who knows what we're going to see. But I highly doubt that you cannot take that thing to endgame. The likelihood of you not being able to take that stuff to endgame is very slim. Very slim. Because there are some... I think there will be more modifiers that will benefit the skill, but even just from a generic point of view, there are things working against it and there are things working for it. The things that are working against it it's a dot. So far we haven't really had that good of like scaling for minion dots, but at the same time the things working for it, there's so many things working for it. For example, it's a chaos dot. Chaos, what does it being a chaos dot have to do with anything? Well, you see, the very funny thing about PoE dots or PoE 2 dots is they can be scaled with damages extra. So all of a sudden, Unholy Might is very premium on it. Ever Grasping Rings are very premium on it. You can run it on Lich. You can do some AoE stacking alongside your Fizzer's extra stacking, stuff like that. And not to mention, it's a single minion that will probably not reserve anything. So you can run this beside some poison Andes or some other chaos damage abilities. Or even better, you can do something like if you were to go something like Infernalist and you were to keep your Infernal Flame high as an example, you could potentially have an Infernal Legion minion also do a lot of Ignite dots alongside your Chaos dot Raven Flock, and both of them are like doing some nice. Both of them are doing like really good damage, and because it's all dot, it kind of synergizes. Though that being said, one is doing fire, one is doing chaos. You just skill generic minion damage. So like I said, I think there definitely are scaling factors, even ignoring the fact that crit is not going to be an option. But here's the lesser known thing. Crit actually is an option for skills like that, because crits in this game increases the hit damage, which means because these type of dots are pseudo hits, or they act like hits, it basically means as you skill crits, you get a bigger dots, so we'll see how it ends up actually working. There's always a chance that they went away from the pseudo hits playstyle of like Infernal Legion that they've been consistent with most dots in the game that are not ailments. There's always that small chance, but I don't. I am. I would find that very hard to believe that they did that. You know, it's way more likely. It's way more likely that they just it's a chaos dot like the other ones, and that just means you can scale it the same way you can scale the other ones. So, oh, nice. So yeah. And also because it's an AoE skill, I can use the same shell I had for AoE stacking for minions in the last league for Disciple of Arashta. I can do something similar and AoE stack on this one. And because it is already a skill that gets AoE, hopefully multiplicatively. I don't think we know, but if it's multiplicative AoE, then ha ha ha. The AoE sizes we will be able to see are gonna be, you know, legendary. Looking forward to it actually a lot. One thing I also would like to know, which we don't have the answer to, is there was a support gem that they teased that basically added a % of the ward cost of a skill. It added fizz equal to a % of the ward cost of a skill to the skill. And I don't think that would work for minions but you never know with command skills, because command skills actually do have costs to them. And I could be misremembering, but I feel like that the verbiage on the actual support gem was something along the lines of supported skills gain, in which case it will affect minions, unless there's a second line that specifies, that says cannot support minion skills. That would be the only caveat. If it says cannot support minion skills, then yeah, it wouldn't work. But if it doesn't have that and it uses supported skills gain, then it's very, very, very likely that we can potentially kind of ward stack on a minion setup, at least for a command setup. I don't think you can necessarily do it on a non-command setup. Even in the best case scenario, I don't think it will work on a non-command setup. What did we get? Fires, yada yada yada. Strength, int. We're just to show everything. So, what are you guys thinking about league starting? Do you guys have any major contenders for your league starts progress? For me, my biggest, the highest likelihood thing that I am, you know, likely to. I need to buy more compasses. The thing I'm most likely to league starts is companion, and I think I said this right from launch day, but companion Spirit Walker is likely to be what I league start. And in case you guys have not seen it, they did in fact tease. Yeah, Legendary Drops has an interview with Jonathan. We're going to try to do an interview a day, or maybe 2, for the next few days, because we do have a lot of interviews to catch up on that I haven't watched, so I could, you know, react to it here. So there's Legendary Drops, and I know there is Destin. Those two. I feel like there's a fourth. Not sure. And I still haven't watched the Thomas Mela No Rest for the Wicked interview, Chris Wilson. I should do that. I should 100% do that. But anyways, I was going to show Path of Exile. I was going to show this guy. For those who haven't seen it yet. I will get water, and then we can watch this teaser, the Spirit Walker. Now, before this came out, I already knew I was going Spirit Walker. After this came out, I definitely knew I was going Spirit Walker. But anyways, give me a second, we'll watch this. Okay, I am back. So, for those that haven't seen this teaser, this was essentially released, I think, yesterday, 2 days ago, and there have been a lot more teasers because they've been doing one teaser a day. But this is essentially a showcase of different builds for the Spirit Walker, kind of like they did with the Druid last season. Keep in mind, I fully expect there to be at least, I don't know why, I expect there to be like one more ascendancy that they haven't talked about yet. Call me optimistic. I wouldn't be surprised.
Born hold the spirit dear, but I seek not just to hold it. I seek to become its champion, like the Asmiri of old. I seek to become a spirit walker.
In Return of the Ancients, we're
All right, where's quality? We're not doing 480p. Thank you very much.
class for the Hunters, the Spirit Walker. We covered some of this in our recent content review, but here we will dig deeper and even showcase some potential builds. Most of the Ascendancy class is devoted to 3 aspects of the Spirit: Vivid, Primal, and Wild. The Vivid path conjures stampeding stags when you attack.
If this wasn't limited to attacks, I could actually see myself using it. But because it's like when you attack, I'm like, nah.
Vivid Stampede gives you extra damage, area coverage, and shocking capabilities. If you want to really focus on the stags, the Morrigan's Guidance lets you create even more stampedes with even more damage, trampling your enemies into dust. The Primal path, meanwhile, is all about projectiles. The Owl grants you boons in the form of their feathers, which can be spent to add extra projectiles to your next skill. If you'd rather unleash the occasional barrage, the Mucker's Gift lets you store up and use multiple feathers at once. And if you're
That is a lot of proj
the
speed.
Owl feathers work on spells too. For those who prefer their animal companions to be more literal,
You know,
summon a wild protector to give your enemies a bear hug they won't soon
can I
forget.
also just say I really appreciate the fact that they didn't make this bear fucking slowpoke just walking around, and they actually gave him a leap. Now, granted, this leap is going to have a CD, and we'll probably have to, because of that CD, we're going to have to do something along the lines of pathing all the way any moment now. POB, there we go, pathing all the way to this region so that we could get, where is it? It's here, right? This is the one. Yeah, so we can get this CDR. Possibly. It's not a lot of CDR, but having a gap closer is typically big, and not only is it a gap closer, it's an AoE gap closer. So if you can get that pounds to do good damage to trash mobs, all of a sudden your clear is that much better in PoE 2. Now it's not going to be insane, but it's going to be something.
The bear is a powerful companion in its own right, and can also provide significant utility. Breaking enemy armor, maiming enemies, violent intimidating roars, and keeping itself fit to fight with its large health pool and life leech. Best of all, the bear doesn't even take up your companion slot.
This was very nice to know that you can run it alongside different using the scepter. You can run it with different companions. And another thing that was really nice to confirm was you could use the scepter's wolf and the wolf reservation, and those do not count as the same beasts, even though they are both wolves, you know.
So you can keep your tame beast alongside you too. The Cartha's balance skill can take your companion.
This is going to be such an interesting note because right now
Damage one
they
step
talk
further
about using it
by
with a
giving them
spear,
extra damage.
but I suspect what I will do, if it's not too much of a travel, if they don't change the tree too much, what I will be doing is I will be saying fuck the spear, I'm not doing spear. What I would do instead is I would walk my way down here and just keep going all this way, and then take Lord of the Wilds. And then I'll have a two-handed talisman that will giga skill for Fizz and give that to my companions. That is my plan. The only problem is I wouldn't be able to use non-minion spirit skills, but like that's fine. I was going to reserve everything with companions anyways, so like, you know, that is my plan anyways with this.
Based on your weapon. Spirit walkers who master all three aspects of the spirit.
I don't plan on doing the three things. I felt like I would, because in theory you can go 1, 2 for 4 points and then take these two and then pick this one as a free one and then you're chilling. But these two just, I don't think they have value. If I'm being very honest, I don't think they have much value. I'd rather have idolatry and this guy. Not to mention, would I really play this without taming a unique? I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
May attract the favor of the elusive sacred wisps.
But who knows? Maybe at some point I'll decide to make a stag build. That's not happening. Anyways, what I will be doing, if I'm being very honest, I have 2 builds that I'm going to play this league. I'm going to play Companion, what's her face, Spirit Walker, and I'm going to play Ravenflock. I'm not fully sold on the Ravenflock because I feel like it might not be the best playstyle for me. We'll have to see. But for now, those are the 2 builds that I can see myself playing. And my league start is going to be Spirit Walker, of course.
The Sacred Unity passive is free. It provides enhancements to all 3 skills. The Stags seek out enemies and can turn mid-stampede. Our feather-empowered skills create a new type of ground effect. And the Bear protects allies near it. Taking this node also causes all 3 skills to change appearance to reflect their
I love their new appearance though. I really like the golden
The
appearance.
Spirit Walker has a couple of tricks up her sleeve outside of animal spirits. Idolatry provides massive bonuses to more minion-focused builds.
Yeah, I plan on using this. The increased reservation would also be really, really big when you consider the simple fact that these guys all take, like companions take % reservation, so you don't really care about maximum spirit, which is why Lord of the Wilds isn't even a downside, because you don't care about maximum spirit, you care about the reservation efficiency, because then instead of reserving 50% of your spirits, the companion can reserve 45 or 40%, which means you can fit in potentially one more cheaper one, stuff like that. So the only parts that would hurt for the less spirit is trying to get something like what's your face, trying to get something like thinking clerics, which they do talk about in this video.
And last, but definitely not least, the Natural Order passive grants.
Now, people pointed out that this one doesn't have the Asmeri Spirits line, but there are two scenarios. A, it was nerfed pre-release, which is a possibility because this could have been recorded after the reveal, yada yada yada. Or what is more likely, in my opinion, is that this was recorded and edited before they added the Asmerian Spirit node. So this is just how it was initially before they added the Asmerian Spirits. I think it's likely that we still have the Asmerian Spirits because it's cool for them to have it, and because it's a unique boss, it doesn't have rare modifiers like you would with a regular rare one. So it wouldn't make the most sense if it didn't have the Asmerian Spirits. Like, that is an extra layer of cool on top of it, and I don't think they're shying away from that. I think it's more likely than not that if they had to do anything to nerf it, they would reduce their damage and not the Asmerian Spirit effect. Unless one Asmerian Spirit was way better than the others, then they balanced it. But this is me digressing. Either way, I still think it will have the Asmerian Spirits. I don't think it's been clarified. Has it? Pokemon, eh? Yeah, Nothing in the comments at least. And I don't think I've seen anything from the new GG community manager or anything of the sorts. So I'm inclined to believe they haven't clarified.
Tame beasts the ability to tame bosses. Yep, all of these.
Although keep in mind, it's still tame beasts, so it has to be a beast in order for you to tame them. So that's why you only see these 9. I feel like these are not the only 9 beast bosses, but these are definitely the 9 they decided to show. There was a boss I was really looking forward to taming, and I feel like it's Crowbell, but I don't think I see Crowbell on this list. Do I see Crowbell?
Well,
What?
they showed him in the.
They showed in the reveal, not in the Spirit Walker. He's not on this 9, so like it's
All of these.
for me at least that I'm just saying that there are more bosses that can be tamed that are not in this 9 in the Spirit Walker showcase.
You wanted to tame Crowbell?
Yeah, Crowbell is probably one of the better ones to tame because he has a consistent AoE attack or attacks, and his attacks animations aren't the longest, so he probably scales well with
I thought
attack
he was
speed.
like a Brutus type guy with the little walk up with the bell.
He has the spin. He has the. Doesn't the bell have like some range on it? Like after this actual slam, and his movement speed isn't bad. Like, I think it's either going to be him or it's going to be Big Monkey. But Big Monkey has his twirl animation that can just take forever, doing fuck all damage all the while. So like Crowbell is just the best bang for your buck in terms of instantaneous damage. Aside him, another boss that could be decent, which I don't think is on this screen either, is Ultimatum Burst Spinning Max Spinnerson. That guy. I don't know if he'll have his spin as a Spectre, but that spin would be slow. But the thing we bought with
So, because I don't think the ice one has it.
yeah, the ice one has the spin as well as a boss. So I don't think they'll give him the spin. But aside the spin, we've seen the ice one. He has the cleave attacks that are I don't know if these are projectiles or melee hits, to be honest. Those wind shockwaves. I imagine that melee because it's kind of just using the player skill that you played with. I forget the name. That creates the shockwave. But in any case, it has that one. It has the projectile it shoots off of the wing. It's probably worse than the 2 I mentioned before, but it's something to keep an eye on. And besides these 2 beast bosses, who else is a decent beast that I would think has good area? The hyena is ass, so that's a no. None of these I would say are the greatest. Who is this one? Oh, the stationary bird is the person that's in that arena. So who is fighting the stationary bird? Stationary bird, we ask.
Yep, all of these.
Oh no, it is using the stationary bird. Yeah, he wouldn't make the best companion. That movement speed is abysmal. If it can even move. I think it'll move probably just very slowly.
Surely it moves faster with the increased movement speed node.
Yeah, because base 0.5, by the time you 100% it, it'll be like, it moves at one movement speed per second. Shit is gonna be ours. We don't touch the flightless bird. This guy that is in interludes in the soft fight area, the blind beast would actually be also a very decent one because his attacks are pretty fast and he has good AoE as well. So like that would also be on the Crowbell level, I would say, for potential companion bosses that would actually work in an actual build. Aside the blind beasts, I'm literally just walking through the different acts to see bosses. There is not so Majessa in Act 2 Keth. That one is probably not going to be great, but she has a giga projectile skill and she has big vulnerability curse. So if she still applies that vulnerability curse, she could be worth as a support minion. She could be, depending, like, because that she instantly breaks my armor every single time on even armor builds. It doesn't fucking matter. It's just giga minus armor. It shit is stupidly strong. So aside Keth, am I forgetting anyone? I don't think I'm forgetting any beasts that could. I'm probably forgetting some in the interludes, but those are the most promising that come to mind right now. Obviously, as I play through the campaign, as I run when I run into bosses, into beast bosses, I'll be keeping my eye on them. Some might occur to me that I forgot, and with the addition of new bosses, anyone that's a beast could potentially be up for grabs. So we'll have to see.
It probably won't come as a surprise to hear that these bosses can cut through packs and bring the pain to their former friends.
Yeah, this is the blind beast. It's probably going to be one of the better ones.
Need some further inspiration for what to do with her. We've put together a couple of in-game builds to give you ideas, kindly made by some of our developers. First up, we have the Stormbringer. We have a standard-looking twister build dialed to 11, where we utilize Whirling Slash and Barrage to unleash twisters to devastate our enemies.
I feel like even in the showcase, it looks like the FPS is dropping.
We will use a combination of Barrage and our new notable Primal Bounty to create so many twisters it more resembles a full.
Low-key, twisters are best with chilled ground, because that shit just looks so dope, seeing all the icicle shatters from enemies that die. Like, I think that is by far the best ground to get, just because of the animation of them dying.
Cyclone. Allocating Wild Protector, Primal Bounty, and Vivid Stampede will unlock a notable that empowers all three, giving them more utilities and features. Thanks to Primal Bounty and the Mucker's Gift, we generate a Primal Owl Feather every few seconds that will be used when we dodge roll to empower our next projectile attack, firing more twisters and increasing their speed. But now we want to start to empower our Wind Ruckus with the elements, gaining significantly more damage. To do that, we take Vivid Stampede, which grants us a Vivid Wisp every 10 meters we travel, which we can do faster by following our soaring ground.
He said 10 meters, but it's 20.
And then we expend those
That is a
wisps
mistake.
to unleash a stampede of stag spirits. Not only do they help kill enemies, they also create shock ground. There you have it. All that combined, we have our Stormbringer. And for our second build today, we have the Zookeeper. This build is for those who prefer to sit back and let your animal army do.
I can only imagine the amount of auras we can now get with multiple different tamed beasts, because we still have the good spot for getting that boar. I hope actually with the zone changes, we don't actually know if we still have that, but we can get potentially really good aura combinations between both of them, between the, let's say, the boa and the quadrilla, as an example. And this would be would also, they'd be supportive, if I'm being honest. Quadrilla is probably not doing that much in terms of clear,
The Spirit Walker has
but it could do damage now that they buff damage across the board. But I don't think he has any AoE, so we probably want to go for companions that do, that actually do damage.
the entire zoo to fight on her behalf, with a whopping 6 companion skills active.
We definitely have a wasp, so wasps are really, really cracked, just because of they are very, very giga aggro, giga MS. It's just very nice.
This is thanks to Sylvan's Effigy, a new unique scepter coming in Return of the Ancients that completely removes the companion cap, and also gives us a big bad alpha wolf that buffs all our other companions.
All the ailments that the wolf and its other wolves apply, I feel like I wouldn't want to build around, because it's all temporary. Like, I think there are some I know there's a support gem that at least says more phase when you hit bleeding enemies or whatever. But like, eh. Also, it doesn't say what inspiring allies even means in this context. We don't. I assume it's onslaughts, but we actually still don't know. We don't know all the ways this support minion can support.
We've also got a pack of regular wolves, 3 different tame beasts, including the mighty Silverfist, and 3 different tame beasts, including the mighty
Silverfish, 100% more damage, 10% increase reservation efficiency. Where does I'm assuming the more damage is just from level scaling. We're going to need so much dexterity for this. It's going to be insane. But we're also going to need a lot of dexterity, intelligence. So last league we were kind of strapped between strength and int. Now we're going to be strapped between dex and int, and a bit of strength, which is going to be the tricky part with the talisman. And now how I'm going to fit in, but it might just be the case that we're going to try our best to get reduced attribute requirements, but I don't want that to be a hard requirement on the talisman we end up getting. We'll see how it all shapes up.
Silverfist, and our trusty bear, with our last bits of spirit used on some skeletal clerics to keep everyone healthy. All you have to do is sit back and enjoy the show, and maybe remind your alpha wolf to summon its spirit friends every once in a while. This might be a good time to mention that companion damage has been buffed across the board. This build squeezes maximum value out of Spirit Walker's idolatry node, even wearing darkness and
it's going to be quite interesting to deal with the -4% res that comes with. Oh, wait, this is per non-idle augment. Oh, so we don't have to actually have to deal with it. Oh, never mind that. That's chill. Okay. I mean, but that does mean we have to 100% use full idols, which might get tricky, especially when we think about all the unique socket tables we got in last league. PoE 2 DB. I know there's some really interesting ones. There was one I really wanted. Not Runes of Alder at 0.4. They really shipped this room out. These guys, I think, was Guateliti's thesis. Physical damage prevented, recouped his life. Gain armor equal to % of life loss from hits in the past. This guy was really strong on helmets. Like I mean, granted, I was using armor, but like that was so nice. Then we have mana per 2 int, per 2 ES on equipped helmets. ES recharge starts as spending a total of whatever mana, no more than once every whatever seconds. And then increases and reductions of movement speed also apply to energy shield recharge rates. Defensive layer wise, because we're at the bottom left and we're going to the top, we're in the bottom right, I'm going potentially to the top left. I think we might just be evasion armor. So we'd have to figure that out without, you know, ES. Chitacolotto's thesis. Damage taken by offerings recouped his life. When one of your discs dies or revives when an offering. This I might use because persistent minions should apply to companions, which means I'm going to need offering targets. I just realized I might need more than just. Maybe I just spam clerics because they are the cheapest minions. Try to get more than I was initially expecting. But yeah, we have to figure these out and a whole bunch of new runes that are going to be added that we don't actually know yet.
Throned to equip more idols. Finally, we're going all the way to the Cartha's balance and wielding a juicy spear to grant our companions a lot of damage.
And keep in mind, this is additional attack damage, so it doesn't matter what element the stats you're getting on your weapon are, your minions are going to get a percent of that.
So, are you ready? So, are you ready to embrace the full power of the spirit?
But yeah, really, really good teaser. The only thing that could break it now is, you know, numbers. We don't actually have the numbers on any of these skills. So, I mean, I can neither guarantee nor, you know, say without a shadow of a doubt that something is bad or not. But I think it's going to be very decent. I don't know that it's going to be, yeah, well, I mean, like, I don't know that's going to be insane. Yeah. Which scares me for price.
Your hideouts with like shit. I mean, it's not TLI, bro. Price of what?
The unique. If it spawns in the end game, that means we're not using it day one. That's for sure. And it depends on if.
I don't think they've showed the single unique that's not spawning at the end.
No, what I mean is like, is it locked to the end game, or is it just from the mechanic? We don't know.
I mean, last league we had some really popular uniques in league start that actually were not that bad.
I mean, do I expect it to be so bad? No, but you really never know.
Lock behind bosses.
There's a very good chance it is. Kind of like the PoE 1 minion stuff was this league, where you had to kill the league mechanic boss to get it. It wasn't the case of, oh, you can randomly drop doing league mechanic. It was just, nah, you have to kill him.
But I just clocked that like you have to play normal companions, so then.
Yeah, you can't go unlimited companions until, but you can also just use regular, like, what do you call it? You can also just use regular minions leading up to it. But because of our location on the tree, we have to kind of use companions. So we have to figure that out.
Someone should just use.
The bear is definitely going to be one of the first nodes we take. The bear, and then I won't take the boss node there. I don't think it'll probably just be the bear. Because the boss node, I think, will be
good?
Why is the bear good? It has good. It has AoE.
I've actually seen it.
It has AoE, and it doesn't.
As a minion, or does it do anything?
It shreds armor. It intimidates. It has AoE on its attacks. etc. So why is the bear good? Those reasons. And if you had to empower it, then all of a sudden it's also you're transferring damage to it. And by empower, I mean take the other ascendancy nodes for the other, you know, things. Now then it has an aura that gives you regen. It has some damage transfer on it, stuff like that. But in the grand scheme of things, the reason you want bear is it's another companion and it has AoE. And it doesn't count towards your companion limit on. So whatever companion you do decide to get, because you're limited to one, you can use bear beside it, regardless of this the scepter or not. Arif I forgot. I ran out of compass. Arif isn't a companion. It's a minion. I don't even know if it reserves, but it's a single minion.
I'm talking about the one you cooked.
Oh, you mean Infernal IO?
Infernal
Legion.
Yeah. Surely you leveled that, too.
I don't know that the AoE is going to be enough to be comfortable early.
Oh, but not.
Yeah, that'd be my biggest worry with Infernal Legion. I think baseline you can actually get to it with the damage, but I think that AoE would be rough.
I'd probably recommend anyone who is doing this that wasn't a minion enjoyer to just do twisters till they get the unique.
I mean, I wouldn't do that, but
No,
yeah.
I just meant if someone, like, you know.
Yeah.
I
I
would
mean,
hate for someone to log into normal companions and log out.
I mean, it's definitely going to be one of those things where you either take it as a second build or you play something else on respec or something.
Like fantasy, there's something about PoE1. People don't do this in PoE1 really, but fantasy baits people in PoE2 more than other ARPGs.
I
I've
mean,
noticed it. Like Leo just messaged me. My first ascendancy node on martial arts is gonna be Fist of War, and in my head I'm like, the one thing that's gear dependent. That shit ain't making a blue gear piece, you know.
yeah.
But like, I get it. I get why he said that, right? Because that's the node he loves. But I would hate to be the person to be like, yo, I know you love this node, but yo, why don't you click that second or third?
I think his best choice for first ascendancy is just going to be
The clones.
clones.
But you know what I mean, though, right?
I get you.
That's a fantasy gamer, and I would hate for someone who's like, yo, all that companion stuff in the video look cool.
Yeah, you don't click
Honestly,
that.
I forgot it was locked to.
You
brought it up.
unique.
So when you said that, I was like, alright, man.
Yeah, no, 100%. You need to have the unique, and until you get the unique, you're either doing regular companions, doing regular minions, or you're doing something else. What are we buying? We're buying creation engine. Okay, I'm going to close you and I'm going to reopen you because the overlay went behind. This is the second time it's ever doing it, but I think it has something to do with me alt tabbing a lot, is my guess. Okay, we have the overlay back. Now let us do some liquidating because, I mean, we had a decent amount of currency already. But we made a good amount of profit, which means we can just sell. We can sell stuff, come out with more money, and instead of going 30 maps this time, we can do closer to 100 most likely, if not 100. All right, Antonius's research. Antonius, show yourself. I dropped 11 in 40 maps. I wonder how aggressive I can price this. We'll start relatively not the most aggressive, but not the most passive either. Tomorrow's direction, I think I'll just open those myself.
I opened everyone I got, and then at some point I got tired and started selling because like, it takes so long to get rid of my stash. After like a good session, you have way too many of the FE ones to, like the FE Flame Sand one.
Yeah.
Lost
Secrets or something.
I started selling that one.
Secrets of the Glacial Abyss, you mean?
Yeah.
100 full windfall. I'm going to use myself. Clergy's thinking. 197. We have for 196. A terrible price. Yeah, also sells second divinity, of course. There it is. The beginning of the end. Do I want to sell these? A part of me is thinking I should just run Traveler and see if I get lucky. But I think that part of me just doesn't want to do SS21 yet. So we're just going to sell it instead.
Immortality concoction recipe.
We have 100 food. Is there anything I'm missing? Secrets of the Glacial Abyss.
If you die in Ordrak in HC, you don't actually die, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it doesn't count as an actual death.
Oh, I mean, it was they just removed Ordrak for the longest time there, but then you couldn't progress. You couldn't get.
Ordrak?
You couldn't get
Ordrakian thing has been back in SSF apparently this season. They removed
Not this season. It's like a week.
Ordrak.
Been back like a week or
this season.
3 days.
Yeah.
Like they just. I'm saying they just re-added it.
I made it sound like it was like at the start of the season.
Yeah.
No, you can. Yeah, they removed the requirement too for
Sandlord
Sandlord, but they didn't remove it
for
for
Snow Paper.
Snow Paper. So Snow Paper is literally like people literally were literally blocked from actually progging Snow Paper.
Which is just
That's why people are doing
ass.
that node on the tree that gives you 1% chance for a gem. That's where she was dropping from.
That's just ass. Do I want to turn in the cards that give me ultimate embers, or do I just want to sell them? I think I should just sell them. But then again, let me see. What is the roll range? 5 to 8. It's an average of like 9 point something for an ultimate ember, and this is going for 17. So on average, 3 of them should give me 6 or 7. I know I'm not doing any 6, 7 here. Anyways, on average, we should be getting that. So that is going to be 17, 34, 50. 50 FE for a try, and the worst case scenario is I get 45 back. Well, so long as I don't bottom roll 5, it's profit. Yeah, we'll roll them ourselves. Now, Crow's Will, that is a different case entirely. This is just a guaranteed ultimate ember, so it should be... Yeah, 2.3 is basically 9 FE. You sound like the most exhausted kid said 6 by the way, and I just it's just the way you sound exhausted.
Really
oh my god, I bottom ruled the 5. God damn it. Just my luck. But I got 7 on the other one, so that kind of equalizes to profit.
6, 7. 6, 7.
Oh no. We turned in something we shouldn't have. We turned in shit we shouldn't have. God damn it. Did I turn in Antonio's research or something? Where did they start going from? I think it's here.
Talking to me?
You know, these are just 21 level 21 gems. But yeah, I should have turned them in.
I turned them in.
They just didn't show up.
There's so many dog shit ones.
Yeah. But
got him.
Destroy that, destroy that, destroy. Destroy any non-precise gem or precise aura. Scorch can go, Biting Code can go. Elite Shock is not coming back. Grim Phantoms will keep for now. Fire Explosion. 21 hunt, 21 electric punishments, all in, which is ass, and then assault command. Yeah, so basically all of them are ass.
We do not understand why a rapidly fading life should dream every day. I've had all those dreams.
I have a level 21 harvest time. Why?
Harvest is hardcore is up.
Oh, okay. And FE on this, 8 FE on this. I mean, I don't think I'm doing hardcore.
Real gold on the line.
Real gold?
Yeah.
What do you mean? The
Top
reward?
Traveler. As long as you have crown in your character's name, you're entering your raffle for Dawn's real gold reward for hardcore.
So you have to put crown in your name, and if you're in the top what, just top traveler?
I think so.
Like the very first on each class, or like?
Piqued your interest, eh? I don't know. He has a video on it. I know the details. You gotta do that and probably have to sub, but yeah.
I mean, nah, I'm not doing that. Not today. Anyways,
Thought about it for a sec.
I thought about it simply because I wanted to do HC anyways for the primos, but I also have been thinking about how much do I really want those primos, and the answer is not
How
a
many
lot.
is it?
Should be the same we get in a regular season, so 800. Oh, we even get free
I'm
time
doing that shit.
capsules.
I need you to literally come over and kill me.
Lol. Yeah, we get 800 jaggeds for it, and probably a portrait. But like, it would just.
I'm literally so deep coping that that's all I need to do to get my last goals. It's fucking cooked.
But wait, doesn't that mean, Joe? Divine Exile is finishing. The Divine Exile event finishes on the 17th of, so in 3 days. So in 3 days, I'm gonna get 800 primos, which is enough for me to get another 10 pull on. I don't know what mechanic I'm going for next, if I'm being honest. I don't remember Iris showing this much skin. Like I feel like this is an altered base skin Iris. What do I know? Anyways, so we're going to be going for 100 maps. Let me just confirm the costs on these runs. It doesn't actually say. When I click detail, it doesn't say. Okay. Anyways, so that's going to be 100. Let's just start with the more expensive ones. Creation was 58 when I bought it. Jesus, it's 42. Well, that's a lot cheaper.
It is crazy.
What'd you say?
What time did you buy that shit at 58?
When I just got back from work.
Oh, okay. You bought it at prime time for them.
4 p.m. is prime time?
Yeah, no, not 4 p.m. Like 4:30 to.
I thought it was like 8 p.m. plus was prime time. 12, 24, 29.
4:30 to 6. Yeah, that's when the price goes crazy.
Interesting. 50.
Because I bought a 38.
Interesting. 50, 63, 66. We shall not be buying one. 11, 77. I could do 27, but that's a bit overkill. Yeah, we can't afford overkill right now. 77, 84, 92. So I need 8 more. 95, 94, 98, 99. Fitted Arcana is supposed to be Giga money. I don't know when I got 12, but I assume it's because I turned in a card or something. We'll take the 430 from there. So that's 99 creations, and that's the most expensive part of this. So now we can just take our, we can now buy everything else more chill. Colorful is 9 currently. I bought it 12 before. 30. 44. 56. 68. 82. And I get it 91. So now I just need a 9 or an 8. I guess 4, 4, 2. That works. That was the colorful. Now for the focuses. $39. Actually, this should be one that I can get full 99 for, can't I? Guess maybe not. We'll do 35. 39. That's 60 plus 14, so 74. 88. 97. 100. And then you are the last piece. You are very easy to get. 99 of Incha. Actually, we should already have a lot, so we just buy this 50 stack. And now we should have 99 of all 4 compasses I need. I don't remember if I bought 99 probes. Yeah, I did. I have 66 left. So I need 33. I guess I'll just buy the 49 here. And then I have 3k FE that I can spend. What do I want to spend it on? What is the upgrade? What is going to be my next upgrade? I should think about that. I think one of the next upgrades I wanted was Precise Friend of the Spirit Magi for my erosion. How much is that going for? $5.5K, so it's too expensive. Okay. What about Legendary Divinity Slates? Frostbites. +4 to max rating. And then 2. We have all the levels there. Additional. This one. Remove that. Remove that. God damn it. Kind of hoping I could find something like this. Any 2 of them and then Frostbite rating. Not so easy, eh? I mean, it could be on. I would prefer Falling Starlights, but it's just not finding period. So if I were to turn off Frostbite rating, it would obviously find the rest. But I was hoping I'd be able to get Frostbite rating, because with Frostbite rating, that is one way we could potentially hit 100 Frostbites. Where's Creation Engine? Let's lock it in.
We're fond of this sky. The stars that vanish at dawn return once more at nightfall. Perhaps we can be friends once you've turned to dust.
Whenever I kill incarnations, I still remember day 1 of the league and how much of a nightmare they were to even see. They did so fucking much damage.
Don't worry, that world is not
See.
scary. It's just a long, long time of loneliness.
I mean, the nerf they got was well deserved, 100%. Very well deserved. Now, granted, in my current state, I would have been able to tank them, but the league would have been so much more of a pain to go through with their presence in the form they were at. Holy. Woo! We just tripled Clergy's thinkings. Whatever that is. Well, I know I just.
It's one of the better cards.
Yeah, I know that's 5 plus 500 FE.
To attempt some more fights.
Don't worry,
Good luck.
still making
In the
Yeah.
in the maps I've been doing with Creation Engine, I've been taking my time to understand what's happening with the different mechanics related to it.
just a long, long time.
Kind of cool. No, just creation engine, how it works. Like I'm just looking at what I'm experiencing, and like for
What do you
example,
think?
because of the legendary compass, you know what legendary compass does, right? It gives us the creation engine at the end of our maps, and because that creation engine exists, every other creation engine has less quant.
Yeah.
And then for every tile you successfully activate from a creation engine, it basically duplicates it at the end. I think that one has quant bonuses or something like that. I feel. So basically, you get to double every creation engine you have completed up until there, and you're kind of just hoping you're able to activate more tiles rather than less through all the creation engines. But it's just RNG, which like how many gets activated from each creation engine and stuff like that. So that I've basically just been watching out for stuff like that and seeing differences and all that.
It's a cool mechanic.
Yeah.
Like the tree is also quite different. There's some nodes like you don't want to click even by mistake for this strat. Those are
The one on
basically
the
wicked.
right,
The one on the right, yeah.
that limits it to one. You would use that, but I assume you wouldn't use it with the golden creation engine. Like I'm sure there's a use case for it. It's just not golden creation engine.
I'm sure there's a use case as well.
And sometimes whenever I do you click multiple creation engines at a time? Because I do.
Yeah, I do.
But like sometimes I get to the last one and I literally have to hold myself from clicking the big one before I'm
depending
done.
on the layout on they show there's one that I like tend to hit. And it can be very frustrating to hit that one but I also don't skip the rest of the map when I hit that one because I've gotten insane cards on the normal ones.
Is it the one that spawns in the middle and it's like arms going around?
It's a glitch. Yeah, it's a glacial abyss map that's like it's splits like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate that one. I hate that map so much. I'm just still just doing Voidlands because nah, I'm not. Every single time I run that map, I'm going to take the damage.
We are, brother.
There was another map that was even worse than that.
Dude,
that used to be
starting with
there.
the crab
Is it? You get to deal with the worst part first because you have to deal with the crap anyways.
Bro, did you just be spamming the attack?
Which one?
And then
The swipes?
because he's big, yeah. But because he's big, he just like he's not doing like the normal thing. He's doing the big pools, which is just ass to fight, in my opinion.
Which one? You mean you're talking about the
one that's like a cross or something.
Oh, I mean, if you stand on him, you can typically predict where to be, so long as he's not at an edge. Once he's at an edge, it becomes a whole lot harder to know if he's going to spawn the whirlpool on you or not. Oh, my internet cut out.
Do we choose who we fight?
Not that I'm aware of.
I wonder if you get him low first.
Some people theorize. I can't say that I have succeeded at doing that, but you can try. You might be wondering why Rasham doesn't like these strats, but I think I can understand why. Because as much as how fast is Rasham's build, movement wise?
I don't know how fast he is because he doesn't have eternity and shit. So I don't know.
There you go. That's a big part of it. I don't have eternity, so I'm slower, but I have Giga CDR, so I'm just spamming blink anyways. So that helps to not have God of War.
I know the build changes everything. like he's taking it pretty high so far. He was close to 5 last we spoke. I think he was like 4.1.
I mean,
But he still hadn't really been able to invest in defenses like that since last we spoke either. So
so like at that point, not every build. I mean, you can get to 5-2 without having a solution for movement, which, for example, would be my reality if I went Moto.
I'd be watching Mike one up on his moto and just slowly.
Which one, Moto 2 with the minus MS?
Yeah, moto 1, I think.
The one where they're actually hitting and not self-destructing?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
The supreme punishment shit his ass. That shit killed me when I was so far into the fights. But I was trying to dodge.
Welcome to my pain.
I probably just need to stop respecting these guys, to be honest. I've built up a lot of tank. I actually just upgraded my gloves, my chests, to be the corrupted mod for defense, like for minus additional. So now it is minus 72. No, it is minus 59% additional damage taken.
I mean, I don't know that less respect is typically the way to go, but that's definitely a way to go.
That's what?
Respect is definitely a way to go.
Well, I think I was doing the thing where I was just playing too cautious in a fight where I could have just walked in and gotten like the 2 I needed and left. My build can get away with that. As long as I'm not like, sitting in like a big tornado or something insane that I shouldn't really be doing.
Yeah. I mean, you need to know what the things you can tank are. Like for me, I could walk through his hits whirlpools. Same could be said about the dots. The dots will kill me in a few ticks, but the hits were very tankable.
Me too.
Surely, right? Isn't that one of the sources of big erosion damage in that fight?
It actually is, yeah.
So I mean, you can stand in it. Can't say you'll be alive to walk out, but you can stand. Wait, why are you still blinking?
Speed at 7 stacks is like not possible.
Yeah, it's not. That's the whole point. You can't rely on movement speed and go to 7 stacks. You'd be trolling. Like Sage can't, even Sage can't do it. Because I think that's Giga less MS.
That's kind of what I figured when I saw that.
You just have to rely on dashes. I think this is the first time I've had the creation engine respawn. Either that or there are times where it respawned in a big cluster and I didn't notice the respawn. I just thought it didn't activate. I have like 7 creation engines going at a time and I'm just standing there.
That's a dream, bro. Fuck me. 12 is such an annoying number.
Yep. Now I'm going to tell you something that you've been doing and which is kind of true. And I've been watching you so far, but I know you're probably still doing it. You're picking up the big orb way too early.
Do you only have so many?
I don't think you spawn more than 1 big orb.
No, you spawn more than 1.
Okay.
I know you spawn more than 1. I've literally taken it twice in the fight.
Without dying in between.
Fuck, I don't know, I guess. Thought I did.
I mean, I don't think I've seen more than 1 spawn in a fight, so you can try.
So you want me to dodge it?
I mean, that's what I did until I literally couldn't take complete without taking
it.
it.
Come in if you ignore it? Does it come in the other ones?
It doesn't despawn, it's just going to be there.
Totally. Okay, well that's probably not happy with whirling with my movement skill. I would love for that to be the case. I just don't know if I can do that.
I mean, that's fine. It just means that you will need to potentially get them all every time. And there will be times where, because like for me, it was I would just ignore it until I literally could not ignore it anymore. Like I'm 2 seconds away from dying. I'm 7/12, and then I'll pick it up. When I know they're doing some BS and it's going to take a while before I actually can get to the zones. Like basically the points where I know I cannot get to 12, I'm just like, okay, nah, I'm going to pick it up.
Can I get this fight? Tornado. Can I tank small tornadoes? I think I should be able to.
You probably can. It's just you can't tank too many of them, but you can tank
In
it.
the center when she does it, I will die. I think.
Yeah, you don't want to be in center while she's spawning, because a big tornado will slap you very quickly. Alongside the small tornadoes, which have already been chipping you.
Fuck! I hit it. That's what I mean.
I guess you better pray that it actually spawns multiple.
I'll find out. I don't think it does. I think it might be. I could have sworn it has, but.
This is a very big creation engine map, I think. Holy, he activated all of them? Okay. 832. Surely, right? Bruh. Okay, so in this set, I've actually gotten a fair amount of unlucky runs. However, it's still where I got the biggest lucky run of like 500 in one map, or 481. They're not bad. But yeah, that I think is going to be it for today. We are going to be watching, I don't know what interview I want to watch next. We have Destin and we have legendary drops. I'm leaning towards legendary drops, but both are potentially good options. So we'll see what I decide to do. I'll pick based on titles and we'll go from there. Like today, we're going to be tag teaming it with TLI so we can make some progress, because the goal with TLI, for those that don't know, is I plan on getting 3 stars on SS20, which I don't have yet, and I plan on going for potentially SS21 if enough time permits between now and PoE and I don't lose interest and all of that. So SS21 potentially could be on the table. I don't know what we get for SS21 if I'm being honest. I just know no Iris has done it yet, and I'm like, sure, if I'm number 1, then I'm number 1, basically. And it'll be my first SS21, so why not? With how much I've made this league, it would be a shame to not go for SS21. That being said, I think I might. You know what? Let's do one real quick test before we end. Real quick test. Talent. Hero traits.
We are creating a breeze that cannot be ignored.
Okay, that's fine. I want to see just how much damage I do and how much damage I eat.
Bro, tell me this thing literally just chills in the whole arena.
But yeah, I can hit him for 5.90.
What? Kill me. Wait, when you saw my shit, did I look like I had good damage for this set? Or am I kind of coping still early still?
I think you can do it. I think it would be easier to do it with more damage. I have never seen this mechanic. What the fuck?
I made like a really big swap today is why I'm kind of was hoping not to hear that.
Well, I mean, so long as you're not on 15T, you can always just make it easier by getting more damage. That's just the truth.
Yes.
Okay, so I have confirmed I can tank SS21. Whew. If I really wanted to, I could probably one star it today.
What comes, goes.
Oh, I can't eat that. Good to know. But anyways, that's really good. So now we just need the damage to be able to eat that skill, and well, not eat that skill. We just need to avoid the skill, but we need the damage to be able to, well, kill him, and ideally with enhanced skill, because I mean we're still going to just run into the same issue we had with SS20, which is maybe one star is possible with ulti. Actually, without without them being distracted and all of that, which is a very big part of why I could only one star, there's nobody for them to attack except the person that they need to attack, and as such damage uptime is actually really good. So I think it's very doable. I don't know how doable it is with, you know, with ultimates, but with enhanced it should be doable. And now that I'm at like 60 on enhanced, I need to get some multis to get myself to 15T. Then I can easily to 3-star SS20, and then we need to get up to 30T to SS21 3-star easily. How I'm going to get myself from here to 21, that is a big question, because when I think about the multis I have that I'm not currently accessing, there aren't too many. I should be going for T0s. That's what I should be doing. T0s on my weapons, my weapon ultimate mod. So like Ellie Pen should be T0. There's no reason it's not T0 already. I'm trolling on not T0 in that. Then scaling Wicked a bit more would also be big. So precise friend of the spirit Magi, as well as potentially a better Wicked base to begin with, could also be pretty decent multipliers to add. If I, with just Wicked alone, without star trails, I probably go up to like 80, 90 maybe. Leaning towards 890, yeah. And then with let me think. With Star Trails, that number should go up by a decent chunk. But I don't think Star Trails are on my mind right now. Undetermined Fates should also be something I consider. They're something I always just write off as being out of my budget. But realistically, I could even go for certain medium ones and they would probably be fine as well. You know, not medium, micros rather. Having even just a decent amount of micro fates would be decent. Having some, like, how much are undetermined fates going for? Mine is sounds about right. Anyways, I'll be back then. Good night.